Welcome here to Hyannis at McKeon Park as we have this evening a matchup that we saw last night, but it was in Wareham. It's the Gatemen on the road here in Hyannis at McKeon Park. I'm Rob Marcello. I'll be going through the pregame show for you guys. We're going to start today with an interview from our sideline reporter, Danny Terzi. She spoke to Eric Rivera.
Guy, talk to some of your teammates about the challenges in pinch hitting. What is the most difficult part about it for you?
Honestly, just being on the bench the whole game, just being cold, just standing still. But I just go in there with a mentality of just hit the ball, see the ball, hit the ball, and good things will happen. So
You came in for Tommy Jew last night in the 8th inning. How did you overcome some of the things you just mentioned?
just by staying relaxed and just knowing that it's the same game I've been playing forever, and just go in there and play hard, and good things will happen.
Where have you set the bar for yourself in terms of expectations this season?
Honestly, just come out here every day and show everybody I work hard and play hard, especially, and just continue to grind and do what I'm capable of, and feel like it's been working out so far.
Is there anything specific you're trying to work on while you're here?
Definitely being a smarter baseball player. I know the game, but I just any chance I get to be a smarter baseball player every time, learn something new. It's always positive, a positive thing, and just get bigger and stronger and hit the ball hard.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Danielle, as she once again spoke with Eric Rivera. I'm here at the first half play-by-play man, Chris Lucy. How are you today, Chris?
Robert, I'm doing great, thanks. It's a beautiful day out here in McKeon Park. A little bit hot, but as Todd Lott told me today, it's a good day in Louisiana. I mean, a lot of these guys come from all over the country and play in a lot hotter climates than this. So, as Todd Lott said, you got to look at it with a glass half full kind of perspective.
Now, one of the first questions I want to ask you about today was last night and how many guys we left on base. How can the Harbor Hawks do a better job today of being able to score runs early?
Well, it's just a matter of taking advantage of opportunities. Hyannis left 14 men on base, to your point, stranding the bases loaded in both the 7th and 8th innings. And that's just a matter of being a bit more aggressive at the plate. And of course, guys were able to get ahead in counts yesterday, but also they really let those advantages slip away. I mean, we saw Pedro Pages go up 3-0 with the bases loaded and then let up 2 straight strikes and then swing and a miss at a third strike slider over the outside corner. That's just not going to get anything done for the Harbor Hawks. So Hyannis just needs to know that they have the guys that can put the ball in play and allow them to just be a bit more aggressive and have the offense flow a bit quicker.
Now, can you talk about the man that's on the mound today for the Harbor Hawks, the starting pitcher? Can you talk about what he needs to do today to be able to get this team a win?
Well, Fowler, his numbers speak for themselves. I mean, 7 1/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 5 earned runs, a 6.13 earned run average. Struck out 5, but he's also walked 5. So control is the main thing for him today. Just pound the strike zone. He has stuff that's very good. A lot of great breaking pitches. If he can throw those for strikes, that'll be tough. But that'll also set the table really nicely for Hyannis, who need innings to be eaten after using more than 3 arms out of the bullpen yesterday.
Now, can you talk about the significance of this game really today, obviously with first and second place, these two teams currently standing in? Now, can you talk about how, it's still somewhat early in the season and, all these games do matter, but can you talk about this game specifically after losing last night, how important today is?
Well, we're already at the halfway point of the season series between the Harbor Hawks and the Gateman Gate. Wareham leads 2-1 in that season series. They only play 6 games against each other, and it looks like these two will be battling for the top of the West all season long. So if you can steal points away from Wareham early, that allows you to build distance between Hyannis and the Gatemen. But on the other side of the coin, if Hyannis drops a lot of early contests against the Gatemen, then they really put themselves behind the 8 ball and almost lose the chance to really take that first place in the West into the playoffs. So a game tonight against the Gatemen is a must win to get this season series at 2-2 and then really make the season series anybody's ball game with one more game at home and then another game at Spillane Field, all that remain between these two ball clubs.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Chris. I'll let you get back to your pregame work here. We're going to quickly go to a break. Right back. We'll talk about some around the league scores here on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
Welcome back here on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network. I'm Robert Marcello. Just to end this pregame show here, we're going to quickly go around the league. The YD Red Sox are currently up on Catuit 1-0 in the bottom of the second. In the top of the second, Orleans is currently beating Brewster 1-0. Other games going on tonight. The Falmouth Commodores on the road against Bourne. And the game here in Hyannis, just about to get ready to start. And then the Harwich Mariners are on the road in Chatham. That's going to do it all here on the pregame show. I'm Robert Marcello. Now I will send it to a break. And then after that, you'll be hearing Chris Lucy and Lyle Goldstein on the call here on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. 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 Magic Works Media.
Time for lineups and first pitch on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network.
The Wareham game is about to get underway here from scene. We'll be bringing you all of it here on the Hyannis Harborhawks Digital Network. A very tough loss against Wareham yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they fought back at the end. They left 14 guys on base, which I know we talked about in the pregame show. But the key for them, I think, tonight is obviously just capitalize on opportunities. And not even so much two-out hitting, because two-out hitting comes and goes. It can be very streaky. But more when there's less than 2 outs of just doing your job of getting the ball down in play with the infield back, producing that sacrifice fly, just finding ways to bring in runs a little bit at a time to keep yourself in the ball game. Jordan Fowler coming out on the mound for the Harborhawks tonight. He's leading things off
on the mound. A 1-0 record, 6.13 ERA in 2 games started for the Harbor Hawks, 7 1/3 innings pitched. Had a tough debut against the Brewster Whitecaps, gave up 2 earned runs and only 2 1/3 innings pitched, but rebounded against the Orleans Firebirds, winning the first leg of the Orleans doubleheader and getting 5 innings pitched there, only 3 earned runs. He steps up on the mound right now. Jeremy Idens from UCLA leading things off for the Wareham Gatemen. Everybody's set. Lefty on the mound, righty at the plate. The first pitch is a called strike by the home plate umpire, Dan Henry. We are underway from McKeon Park. Mike Beal, the first base umpire, and Dave Perry, the man down the third base line. Fowler sets and fires the 0-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2 on the breaking pitch. Coming in on the hands of the center fielder out of UCLA. He's followed up by Sahid Valenzuela, the second baseman out of Cal State Fullerton, and Austin Shenton, the designated hitter and leading batter in the Cape out of FIU, as the 0-2 misses lone inside for ball 1. In the 4 spot, Brian Packard, the left fielder out of East Carolina. In the 5 spot, Lyle Lockhart Jr., the first baseman out of Houston. In the 6th spot, Paven Parks, the third baseman from Kent State. The 1-2. Cut on and roped high in the air out towards right field. This one getting down towards the gap, but Trevor Hoover, the right fielder, camps under it and makes the play for out number 1. 1 down here in the top of the first inning. We'll keep going through the lineup here. Ryan Kreidler in the 7th spot for the Gatemen, the UCLA shortstop. In the 8th spot, Luke Roxham from Nebraska. He's catching tonight. And Isaac Collins rounds out the 9 in right field. He plays his college ball for Creighton University. And now here's Sahid Valenzuela. He's at the right side of the plate, the lefty. Fowler kicks and deals. Fastball for a strike over the outer half of the plate. 0-1 the count. Catching for Fowler today is Cal Wilkie out of Clemson. Over at first base, Brady Lindsley from Oklahoma. The 0-1. Ball 1. Another fastball inside and low. 1-1 the count. Braden Como out of Rice is playing second. Davis Wenzel from Baylor at third. And at short, Alec Trella out of Memphis. As Sahid Valenzuela steps back in and takes the 1-1. Called a ball high and outside. Off-speed offering. 2-1 the count. Going from left to right in the outfield, Todd Lott is in left field for Hyannis. In center field, Eric Rivera out of Florida Atlantic. The 2-1. Cut on and grounded just fair down the third base line, and that is sending Sahid Valenzuela around first. He's going for 2. It chases Todd Lott to the wall in the corner towards the bullpen for the Harbor Hawks, and he throws the ball in as Sahid Valenzuela just cruises into second base with a 1-out stand-up double in the top of the first.
And Sahid Valenzuela just turning on that pitch from Fowler. Didn't make particularly hard contact on it, but Davis Wenzel playing to his left and off the bag at third. Couldn't quite get there in time on the backhand. And that ball rolling all the way into the corner, into the bullpen, sent Lott sprinting. And Valenzuela, with his speed, easily made it into second with that double.
That's his first hit of the game. First hit of the game for either team. Now Fowler has to reset. Austin Shenton coming to the plate. The designated hitter out of Florida International. He stands at the left side. And the lefty comes to the set, looks back the runner at second, and fires. Bouncing ball gets away from Cal Wilkie behind home, and Sahid Valenzuela just jogs his way down to third base, and he's held up. And that will be a wild pitch called against Jordan Fowler. Breaking ball getting away from the sophomore out of Ole Miss. Shenton digs back in, the Cape's leading hitter. Shenton carries a scorching .417 batting average into this game, and he has a tailor-made situation for him right now. Runner on third base and only 1 down in the top of the first inning, trying to break a scoreless tie between the Harbor Hawks and the Gatemen. Now the 1-0. Fastball for a strike. 1-1 the count on the pitch, darting over the outer half of the plate, around knee level. First baseman Lindsley playing the line just behind the first base bag, the 1-1. Breaking pitch, low and away, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike on Shenton. 48 at-bats for him on the Cape League season, 20 hits, 9 RBIs. He's also walked 8 times. He won't be an easy out, and that's kind of what the Harbor Hawks need right now, the 2-1. High in sight, ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike in the count. Infielders up the middle, kind of playing shaded towards the middle. on the outfield grass. Davis Wenzel, the third baseman, playing off the line, but just in front of the infield grass. Outfielders playing back and straight away. The 3-1. Slapped on and hit right at Davis Wenzel. The third baseman leaps in the air, makes the catch, and there's 2 away in the top of the first inning.
That's a big out for Fowler. He keeps the ball in the infield. And like you mentioned, getting the most dangerous hitter in the Cape League out. Almost thought with that 3-1 count that Fowler was trying to pitch around the hitter in Shenton to set up the double play and just make somebody else in that lineup beat him. But an outside fastball, Shenton swung and turned on it, or should we say sent it the other way, but Wenzel heads up play at third.
And now the first pitch to Brian Packard. Called a strike over the outer half of the plate. The former 2017 MLB draft pick from the Texas Rangers got himself in trouble with a double and then a wild pitch, advancing that runner over to third base in Zahid Valenzuela. And now it's a couple pitches away from getting out of a jam, and he throws strike 2, a fastball right over the outside corner to Brian Packard, who now has to defend the plate. 0-2 the count to the left fielder out of East Carolina. The lefty on the mound. Kicks and fires to the lefty at the plate. Cut on and roped foul. That one gets out of play in a hurry. Count remains 0-2. Packard batting .314 in 51 at-bats this summer. Not an easy out either. And Hyannis is trying to get out of this inning unscathed. It's a scoreless tie. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Breaking pitch, cut on and fouled off the glove of Wilkie. He can't hold on to it. So the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. The left fielder for the Gateman takes his helmet off, adjusts. Goes off some blonde flow, just creeping out the back. A little bit of a mohawk going as well. Summer ball haircut, the 0-2. Breaking pitch called strike 3. Jordan Fowler just clips the lampshade right there for strike 3 or pulls the lampshade, mind you, for strike 3, and that freezes up Bryant Packard for the final out of the top of the first inning. So no runs on 1 hit, 1 man left on base, and we head to the bottom of the first inning where Davis Wenzel, Braden Como, and Matt Barefoot square off against Will Proctor, today's starter for the Wareham Gatemen. We'll have a little bit more on him when we get back here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Don't go anywhere. This thing's knotted at 0, heading into the bottom of the first.
Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Chris Lucy and Lyle Goldstein.
Scoreless tie heading into the bottom of the first here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. He's Lyle Goldstein. I'm Chris Lucy. And out to the mound for the Wareham Gatemen is Will Proctor. The righty out of the SEC powerhouse, Georgia, a 1-1 record on the campaign, a 1.86 ERA in 9 2/3 innings pitched for Wareham. Steps up against Davis Wenzel, Braden Como, and Matt Barefoot out of Baylor, Rice, and Campbell University, respectively. To start things off here, Trevor Hovers in the 4 spot out of Arizona State, playing right field. Kyle Wilkie, the catcher out of Clemson, in the 5 spot. Brady Lindsley out of Oklahoma in the 6 spot, playing first. Todd Lott out of the University of Louisiana Lafayette in left field. Alec Trella, the shortstop from Memphis, in the 8 spot. And Eric Rivera rounds out the 9, playing center field and batting 9th. Now the first pitch from the righty to the righty, Wenzel. Low and away for ball 1. And the Harbor Hawks offensive evening is off to the start. Hoping to muster a bit more than they did yesterday, the 1-0. Missed low and away, ball 2 on the breaking pitch. It was a tough night last night offensively for Hyannis. They were able to set the table, but really just not able to finish on the opportunities they created for themselves. The 2-0. strike over the outer half of the plate. Breaking ball brings the count to 2 balls and a strike. Luke Roxham catching tonight for the Wareham Gatemen. His pitcher Proctor kicks and deals. And the 2-1 is nibbled on and sent down to third base. Paven Parks picks it up, throws across the diamond to get out number 1. And there's one away here in the bottom of the first. Hanging over at first base for the Gatemen tonight, Lyle Lockhart Jr. He's out of Houston. At second base, Sahid Valenzuela from Cal State Fullerton. The aforementioned Paven Parks from Kent State at third. And at short, Ryan Kreidler out of UCLA. Now Braden Como steps up to the dish for the Harbor Hawks. Infield, outfield, straight away. And the righty on the mound deals a first pitch ball to the righty at the plate. 1-0 the count on the Rice Owl. The 1-0. Cut on, grounded up the middle, and through for a base hit. That'll be Como's 16th hit in 47 at-bats for the Harbor Hawks, hitting a scorching .326 coming into this game. And now he stands on first with a 1-out single here in the bottom of the first.
He just continues to stay hot. He attacked Proctor early in the count there, sending one right up the middle. Got something he liked, and Como continuing to be a catalyst at the top of that order. With that hit, his average moves up to .340. So not a big power guy, but continuing to do the dirty work on offense.
In the first pitch to Matt Barefoot, ball 1 low and away on the breaking pitch from Proctor. Barefoot, power hitter of sorts for Hyannis, 3 homers and 44 at-bats, hitting a scorching .386 to lead Hyannis in batting average. Looks at the 1-0 pitch, and that's called ball 2 low and away. Another off-speed pitch, missing the spot for Proctor. 2-0 count. Braden Como on first base with a 1-out single here in the bottom of the first. Still a scoreless tie between the Gatemen and the Harbor Hawks, who are locked in a battle for first place in the Western Division out here in the Cape League. The 2-0. Cut on, grounded foul just past third base coach Chad Gassman. Bobby Melly manning the first base coaching box for the Harbor Hawks. Former player, played 3 years for Hyannis. Was drafted by the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's wrap up the outfield for you while we get the chance. Jeremy Idens is in center field. Over in right field, Isaac Collins. And in left field, Bryant Packard rounds out the 9 for the Gatemen. As the 2-1 bounces low and away for ball 3. And that's a 3-1 count on Matt Barefoot. He has 6 walks on the campaign. A good deal behind the team's leader, Davis Wenzel, with 13, but still tied for second most with Seth Gray, who has a much-needed night off tonight. The 3-1. High and tight ball 4. Make that walk number 7 on the campaign for Matt Barefoot. And the Harbor Hawks are in business. Only 1 down here in the bottom of the first, and their runners on first and second with the cleanup man, Trevor Hobber, stepping up to the plate.
And Harbor Hawks continuing to get on base against the Gatemen. Barefoot drawing a 5-pitch walk there other than the fastball inside that he lined foul. Not much else he could do. But here's where we start to see if the Harbor Hawks can turn things around from last night and really turn over a new leaf. They've got runners on with 1 out. Good part of the lineup up in the number 4 hitter.
Hyannis stranded multiple men on base in 4 different innings last night. First pitch to Hobber. Cut on and sent foul into the sky down the left field line. 0-1 the count to the Sun Devils sitting at the left side of the plate. The Georgia Bulldog, a right-hander on the mound, trying to get his way out of a little bit of a jam. Only 1 down, runners on first and second. Trying to maintain a scoreless tie between the Gatemen and the Harbor Hawks. The pitch. Called strike in on the hands and right at belt level for Hobber. 0-2 the count. Nice little breaking offering from Proctor. Sunny day here in Hyannis. About as warm as it's gotten all season on the Cape, as things are going to start heating up a little bit more during the summer. The 0-2. Cut on and missed, strike 3. An off-speed offering fooling Trevor Hobber for the second out of the inning on a swing and strikeout. 2 away here in the bottom of the first, and Hyannis in danger of missing another chance with a runner in scoring position. There's runners on first and second and 2 down, and Kyle Wilkie has to come up to the plate and try and scrape something across for the Harbor Hawks, who are knotted at 0 with the Gatemen. Two-step leads off of first and second, respectively, for Como and Barefoot. The pitch. Called strike to the righty at the plate. Proctor ahead in the count, 0-1. Proctor, no stranger to some Cape League royalty. Played for the Garcia Parra baseball group when he was growing up in Manhattan Beach, California. The 0-1. That's a called strike on the outer half for Wilkie. 0-1 the count on the catcher out of Clemson. Wilkie batting .286 and 21 at-bats for Hyannis. 6 hits. Looking to break this game open. Nothing, but 2 strikes on him. 2 down. Runners on first and second. Proctor with the count in his favor. The pitch. Bouncing ball almost gets away from the man behind home plate, but it's picked up. Nice stop from Roxham. Count now 1-2. And I mentioned the Garcia Parra baseball group Proctor played for, run by the father and brother of Nomar Garcia Parra, newly minted college baseball Hall of Famer and former Orleans Firebird. The 1-2. Cut on and grounded up the middle. It skips off the mound. Diving stop by Kreidler, the shortstop, and a quick throw over to Sahid Valenzuela at second. Gets the force out. A 6-3 put out. A 6-4 put out at second base ends the threat here in the bottom of the first inning, and Cal Wilkie robbed of a hit up the middle, but tip your cap right there to the shortstop and Ryan Kreidler. Hyannis strands 2 men on base on a hit and a walk, and we now go to the top of the second inning where Lyle Lockhart, Paven Parks, and Ryan Kreidler, the 5, 6, and 7 hitters, are due up for their first ups against Jordan Fowler here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. We're still scoreless from McKeon Park.
Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein and Chris Lucy.
Lyle Lockhart, Paven Parks, and Ryan Kreidler do up the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for the Wareham Gatemen, trying to break a scoreless tie against the Harbor Hawks here in the top of the second inning. Jordan Fowler back out for inning number 2 of work. The lefty squaring up the right-handed batting Lockhart. The first pitch. Ball 1 high and outside on some heat. 1-0 the count. Fowler wearing his home Hyannis Harbor Hawks whites with blue cap. The 1-0. Fastball missing way high and outside, getting away from the outstretched glove of Wilkie. 2-0 the count. Completing the ensemble with the blue hat and the orange Hyannis Harbor Hawks H on the front bill is orange sleeves, orange lettering, and white pants. Blue socks as well, but Fowler and, for that matter, none of the Harbor Hawks really have the pants pulled up to show them off. The Gatemen coming with their road blues, red lettering, gray pants. The 2-0. High and outside. Count 3-0 now to the man at the plate in Lockhart. He's batting 182 on the campaign. 7 games played, only 4 hits and 22 at-bats. The 3-0. There's a called strike. Get me over fastball from Fowler. 3-1 the count. Fowler, your pretty classic 3-pitch guy, a running fastball, changeup, and a slider. Changeup and a curveball, working on a slider, the 3-1. Cut on and hit high and foul into the netting behind home. Loads the count up at 3-2 after getting ahead in the count 3-0. Lockhart still scuffling to find hits here on the Cape, and many do. There's an old adage, Lyle, that players coming from metal bats in college can almost expect to lose 100 points off their averages playing with wood against competition like this. The payoff pitch. High and outside for ball 4. So take your base, Lyle Lockhart, after a battle. He reaches to start the top of the 2nd inning and set the table for Pavin Parks.
And Jordan Fowler just missing high with his fastball in that at bat. He battled his way back into the count, and then on that 3-2 pitch miss upstairs again. We've seen walks be a little bit of an issue for Fowler coming into today, at least. He had walked 5 in his first 7 2/3 innings pitched. We'll see if he can settle down here against the power bat in Parks.
Batting 200 and 5 at-bats on the Cape League season, only 1 hit. He stands at the left side, takes strike 1 over the outer half, a straight fastball out of Fowler's hand. The fastball will run sometimes, but I should correct myself from earlier. When it runs is when Fowler is actually starting to feel uncomfortable. He wants to keep that fastball straight and use it to set up his 2 breaking pitches, which he likes the most. Fowler looks back the runner at first and gives a little check back over to him. Lyle Lockhart reached with a walk to start things off here in the top of the 2nd. Still no score on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network. Hyannis and Wareham battling for first place in the Western Division. Hyannis lost it to Wareham in a 4-3 game last night. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball for a strike over the outer half, just dropping right in over that front corner. 0-2 the count on Parks, third baseman out of Kent State. Infielders at double play depth right now. First baseman in Lindsley holding on the runner at first as the 0-2 is high in sight for ball 1. Pavin Parks with some professional potential. He was selected by San Diego in the 24th round of the 2018 draft, but opting to go back to Kent State as the 1-2 pitch is called strike 3 over the outer half of the plate. Pavin Parks shakes his head at the breaking ball that just dropped out from underneath him. And there is 1 away here in the top of the 2nd.
Fowler definitely feeling his breaking stuff on that at bat. He got Parks looking at a little bit of a late call from the home plate umpire, but nice frame job by Wilkie as well. Maybe stole a strike a little bit.
Dan Henry ringing him up, and that's the 2nd looking strikeout of the game and only 2 innings of work for Fowler. But now Ryan Kreidler comes up, the 7-hitter for the Gatemen with a runner on first and 1 down. Takes the first pitch, low and inside for ball 1. Kreidler out of UCLA made a dazzling play up the middle to save what could have been the game's first run for the Gatemen in the previous inning off the bat of the man behind home plate right now, and Kyle Wilkie, who had to settle for a fielder's choice on the score sheet as Jordan Fowler, the lefty, throws back over to first, and Lyle Lockhart Jr. dives in underneath the tag from Lindsley. The Oklahoma Sooner throws the ball back to the Ole Miss Rebel on the mound, and now things resume business as usual. 1-0 the count on the batter Kreidler out of UCLA. Batted .222 for the Bruins this year. Batted in 34 runs, the 1-0. Called strike over the outer half. Evens the count at a ball and a strike. Kreidler batting .250 on the Cape League summer. 5 hits in 20 at-bats. Has a 1-1 count with a runner on first and 1 down here in the top of the 2nd. And the 1-1 pitch is a called strike 2 on another breaking ball. Fowler's breaking ball working pretty well today. Looked like he had the slider coming out of his hand there. Also likes a curveball, but that slider with just a little bit more left to right movement rather than up and down movement that the curveball has. But he's very comfortable throwing both. As the 1-2 has to wait for another check throw back over to first. A very slight breeze here at McKeon Park. The sun still beating down on most of the field. Left field, the only part of the field getting really any shade. That breeze blowing out of the ballpark. The 1-2. Got on and fouled off Kreidler's back foot. He'll have to take a second to walk that one off. 1-2 the count as Kyle Wilkie walks out from behind home plate and throws a fresh pearl to Jordan Fowler. His lefty has a 1-2 count, one man down. Gave up a leadoff walk to start things off here in the top of the second. But settled in with a looking strikeout to Pavin Parks. Now is a pitch away from a similar result to Ryan Kreidler. The 1-2. Cut on, and that one is grounded over to short. Alex Trella fields on the forehand, throws to Braden Como for one at second, but a good slide in there from Lockhart breaks up the potential double play, and there's only two away here on the fielder's choice to Kreidler here in the top of the second.
The catcher from Nebraska, number 14, Luke Roscoe.
Luke Roscom coming up to the plate now for the Wareham Gatemen, plays his ball at Nebraska, University of Nebraska at Lincoln. Man on first base, 2 down. Hyannis trying to break away a 0-0 tie as the runner goes off of first base, and Pavin Parks, or Ryan Kreidler, gets a great jump, gets a late throw on the breaking pitch from Fowler, who is a bit slow to the plate there, and that is a stolen base.
And we've seen Fowler make a couple of nice moves over to first. Often lefties can have some really deceptive moves, which Fowler does. But on that one, he had already committed to the plate, and Kreidler recognized it right away, taking off and then catching some help on the breaking ball.
And that was a slow curve as well. So like you mentioned, getting a good bit of help right there. He really had no chance of getting caught as Wilkie gave a throw down to second for good measure, but almost would have been just as well advised to eat the ball and avoid throwing in the first place. Now there's a runner in scoring position with 2 down. Hyannis trying to maintain a scoreless tie as the 0-1 is a check swing at a breaking pitch, and they check up towards second base, and the second base umpire, Dave Perry, says he did not go through, so that's ball 1. 1-1 the count. That first pitch upon which Kreidler stole was called a strike. So the count's even at 1-1. Runner on second base, 2 down here in the top of the second. Hyannis trying to maintain this scoreless tie as they head into the bottom of the second. Jordan Fowler on the mound. Looks back, that runner at second. Alex Trella, the shortstop, holding him on. Creeping back and forth, and now the 1-1. Breaking pitch, swung on and missed for strike 2. Roscom behind in the count. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes. He's batting .238 on the Cape League summer, 21 at-bats, and 5 hits. He's driven in 4 runs, though. Chance to drive in 1 more. The 1-2. Breaking ball misses low and away for ball 2. Lefty on the mound fighting with the lefty at the plate right now. Count even once again. This time 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 down. 2's all over the scoreboard. It's the top of the second inning. Only place you'll find zeros are in the score column, where Hyannis and Wareham still sit at 0 as the 2-2 pours over the outer half of the plate, but way low for ball 3. Breaking pitch, missing the zone for Fowler, and now he has a big 3-2 pitch coming up. Isaac Collins out of Creighton waits on deck. Now the 3-2. Breaking ball called strike 3 right down Broadway. Started up at the hands and settled right over the heart of the plate, and the catcher out of Nebraska is fooled and is the 3rd backwards K of the game for Jordan Fowler, who ends the top of the second inning, a bit of a threatening inning for the Harbor Hawks, with a looking strikeout, and on only 1 walk and a fielder's choice, 1 man is left on base, and now we head to the bottom of the second inning, where Brady Lindsley, Todd Lott, and Alec Trella are due up. The 6, 7, and 8 hitters in the Harbor Hawks order when we get back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein and Chris Lucy.
To the bottom of the second we go on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Still knotted at 0 from McKeon Park between the Harbor Hawks and the Wareham Gatemen as they fight for the top spot in the Western Division. Brady Lindsley, Todd Lott, and Alec Trella due up for Hyannis, 6, 7, and 8 in the lineup. Brady Lindsley out of Oklahoma, stepping to the left-hand side of the plate now. Will Proctor, the right-hander out of Georgia, still on the mound, back out for his second inning of work. Righty kicks and deals. And the first pitch is off the end of the bat and served foul down the third base line on the swing from Lindsley. 0-1 now the count. Lindsley batting .200 in his first 20K league at-bats, able to scrape together 4 hits. And now here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss at some cheddar over the outer half of the plate. A nice breaking ball right there. And Proctor jumps ahead in the count 0-2. Now Lindsley has to dig in. Infielders playing up the middle. Corner guys almost back on the outfield grass as the 0-2 almost gets him. High and tight fastball for ball 1. Lindsley having to dive out of the way of that pitch. Very slow and muggy day here in Hyannis. The 1-2. Cut on and nicked foul just off the front foot of Lindsley. He has to take a little bit of a pause. Nice crowd still out despite the heat. 82 degrees here at McKeon Park. The hottest it's been on the Cape so far this summer. And with the humidity and the sunlight beating down on the field right now, doesn't make it any easier for fans or ball players alike. Now the 1-2 from Proctor. Ball 2, high in sight, another fastball. Lindsley stays in there. Watches the count even up as he just moves his guide hand through the zone with the bat in it, trying to get his swing right. Now Proctor moves the 2-2. And it's a called strike 3 over the outer half of the plate. Dan Henry rings up Brady Lindsley for a looking strikeout to start the bottom of the second inning.
I don't think Lindsley was too happy about that one. He took a couple of jumps after the call was made. No verbal argument with the home plate umpire, though, and Henry. But second strikeout, I should say, for the right-hander and Proctor. First one looking. And I'll bring up Todd Lott, who, as we mentioned, has really hit his stride as of late.
Batting .289 in 38 Cape League at bats, 11 hits. And let's take a look at that. 3 home runs. Stands at the right-hand side of the plate. The righty Proctor fires ball 1 high and outside. A little bit of left to right movement on the pitch there. 1-0 the count. Wind very slightly blowing out towards center field. Proctor steps off the rubber briefly as if he lost his balance, but now he's back on and fires the 1-0. Cut on and crushed out towards left center field. The left center fielder backing up towards the wall, and Packard watches the ball sail out of the yard for the 4th homer of the season for Todd Lott, and Hyannis pulls ahead 1-0 with 1 down in the bottom of the second inning. Another solo shot for Todd Lott. And the Harbor Hawks with an early edge, Lyle. I mean, he got all of that one.
I was just about to say before he hit it, he's one of those guys who every time he steps up to the plate, you know that one swing of the, he's one of those guys that just has that power with one swing of the bat, and he can put it out, and that's what he did there. Cleared by about 20 feet in the left center field.
Alec Trello with some power as well. He steps up to the plate and fouls the first pitch he sees behind home. 0-1 the count on today's shortstop out of Memphis. Trello looking to still catch fire out here on the gate, batting 143 in 21 at-bats as he swings and misses at the 0-1 and falls behind 0-2 in the count. He struck out 8 times, so he's dug himself into a bit of a hole here. He sent a couple of moonshots into center field during batting practice as well. A very easy, powerful swing. The 0-2. Bouncing ball for ball 1. Proctor trying to waste a breaking ball there. And now Trella steps back into the right-handed batter's box. The righty out of Georgia looking him over. Here's the 1-2. Fastball high and outside for ball 2. Trella fighting his way back into the count. Evens it after falling behind 0-2. No signs coming from either base coach for the Harbor Hawks. Trella has the green light, and here's the 2-2. Breaking ball drops right in over the inner half for strike 3, and Trella is down looking. That's the second looking strikeout of the inning for the Harbor Hawks, who took a 1-0 lead. But Hyannis needs to be a bit more productive with their at-bats if they want to be able to maintain an edge over a team as ferocious as the Gatemen.
Yeah, absolutely. And that pitch from Will Proctor, it looked like coming out of the hand, it wasn't going to drop anywhere near the zone, but some serious tail to it. Blow some bite right at the end of that offering as it just cuts onto the inside corner, and it fooled the hitter in Trella.
Eric Rivera takes ball 1 low away as he's up at the plate now. Batting 167 in 36 Cape League at-bats. Plays his college baseball at Florida Atlantic University. University of Georgia Bulldog deals the 1-0. A called strike. Another little running fastball over the outer half of the plate. Rivera stands at the right side with a very unique batting stance, almost as if he's just helicoptering the bat over his head before he comes to his load step. 1-1. Ball 2 low and away in the dirt. 2-1 the count. That very unique batting stance Rivera has is not something he thinks about all that much. He just watches in the on-deck circle so he can time up his load with how the pitcher goes. The 2-1. Ball 3 low and inside. Count 3-1. And I asked him if he feels as though he ever gets quick pitched, and he just says he doesn't really think about it that much. He keeps his mind pretty blank at the plate, which is an interesting parallel with his Harbor Hawks and Florida Atlantic teammate Pedro Pages, who's much the same. 3-1. Ball 4, and a simple approach for Eric Rivera draws a 2-out walk here in the bottom of the second. Hyannis leads 1-0 and is trying to grow that lead as Davis Wenzel steps up and the Harbor Hawks lineup turns over. Davis in his second ups of the game. He's 0 for 1, grounded out to third base in the bottom of the first inning. Rivera with a 3-step lead off of first. Wenzel at the right-hand side of the plate. And Rivera goes on the pitch. A throw from behind home. Gets away from Sahid Valenzuela at second. And Jeremy Idens coming in from center field to collect the loose ball. And that's a stolen base for Eric Rivera that could have meant extra bases if the throw from Roscom had not been corralled by Idens out in center, who made a very heady play.
And Eric Rivera wasting no time there, getting a great jump. To be honest, I think he went before Proctor even started his throwing motion. So he caught a little bit of luck there, and then a throw wide to the right from the catcher in Roscom made it an easy slide. But Eric Rivera, he's really starting to heat up, especially over the last couple of days. He was 1 for 2 yesterday, a walk in his first at bat, and now a stolen base.
And now Davis Wenzel digs in at the right side of the plate, an 0-1 count, 2 down in the bottom of the second. Hyannis out front 1-0. And he waves and misses at the 0-1 for strike 2. High off-speed pitch over the outer half. And now Davis has to fight to stay alive. Infielders at second and short shaded up the middle. Second baseman Valenzuela holding on the runner Rivera with a sizable lead at second. Now the 0-2. Bouncing ball in the dirt, gets away again from Roscom, and Eric Rivera advances over to third base. So Rivera, after getting on with a 2-out walk, gets 2 free passes, and Hyannis has another run 90 feet away from home plate as they already lead 1-0, and now Davis Wenzel with a 1-2 count on him just tries to stay alive and possibly take advantage of a big opportunity for the Harbor Hawks. They'll take every run they can get. The 1-2. Cut on and sent high in the air out towards left center field. This chases Packard and Hyannis together out towards the gap, but Packard calls off the center fielder, makes the catch, and there's 3 down here in the bottom of the second inning. So on a hit and a walk, Hyannis leaves 1 man on base, but takes a 1-0 lead on the moonshot to left center field from Todd Lott. A 1-0 lead for the Harbor Hawks as now we head to the top of the third inning. Isaac Collins, Jeremy Idens, and Sahid Valenzuela, the bottom and top of the Wareham Gateman order, due up to see Jordan Fowler again when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Let's get you back to the game.
Chris Lucy with you here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Jordan Fowler throws out the first pitch of the third inning, and it is a strike. Isaac Collins down 0-1 in the count. 9th hitter for the Wareham Gatemen. Leadoff hitter Jeremy Idens, and the second man, Sahid Valenzuela, due up after him. Hyannis out front 1-0. The 0-1. Way high and outside on the fastball from the lefty out of Ole Miss. 1-1 the count. Shade starting to creep more over towards left center field now. Left field pretty much engulfed except one streak down the foul line. Rest of the field still completely bathed in beautiful golden sunlight. The 1-1. Cut on and served high and foul down the right field line. Brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Collins batting .211 on the Cape League season. 4 hits in 19 at-bats. The 1-2. Cut on and grounded just fair up the third base line and into left for a base hit. Collins chugging around first base, goes over to second. The relay throw from Todd Lott in just behind him. And Isaac Collins leads off the top of the third inning with a double. Good piece right there from Collins. A very patient call from the third base umpire Dave Perry as he was playing the line over on that one and just waved it fair as it kicked off the bag. And now Jeremy Idens with a big chance to help Wareham get back in this game. The Gatemen trail 1-0 here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. And Idens with a golden chance to grow or to tie this game up as Fowler steps off the mound. Looking back, the runner at second in Isaac Collins had a little bit of a lead. He's held on by Braden Como, the Harbor Hawks second baseman, as there's the right-handed hitting Idens at the plate. The first pitch to Idens. Breaking ball for a strike. That one dipping right over the outer half of the plate. 0-1 the count as Kyle Wilkie comes out from behind the dish to have a word with his left-hander. So Idens started off yesterday's game, a 4-3 win for the Gatemen that won them first place back in the Western Division with a bang, to say the least. Hit a home run off of Travis Marr on the first pitch he saw. Said he was sitting on a fastball found one high in sight, and he just drilled it out to left center field. Hyannis not afraid to jump on the first pitch. He says, if you like the first pitch, hit it because you might never see it again. That's what Don Sneddon has been telling the ball club all summer. The 0-1. Cut on, and that one grounded to Davis Wenzel. Knocks off the lip of the infield grass and goes into left field. Never touches the glove of Wenzel. Hyannis cruises over to first base, over to third, Collins. And now there's runners on the corners. Nobody down here in the top of the third inning, and Hyannis in a situation, a one-run lead for the Harbor Hawks, in jeopardy as the official scorer calls it a base hit. Davis Wenzel never getting a glove on it, and a very tough hop to deal with as well. So that single from Hyannis brings his line to 1 for 2 on the day, continues his hot streak against the Harbor Hawks, and brings up Zahid Valenzuela. The pitch cut on and looped the other way. This one creeping toward the foul line, and it dips foul. 0-1 the count as Harbor Hawks fans breathe a sigh of relief. That thing gets down. This game is tied, if not worse. Hyannis can really fly around the base paths. Today's center fielder definitely showing off some good range. Can take away hits out in center field, as we've seen. He has a good 3-step lead off of first base. Isaac Collins with a 2-step lead off of third. Zahid Valenzuela cuts and sends the 0-1 pitch into the foul ground behind home. 0-2 the count. Wind blowing out here from McKeon Park. 1-0 lead for the Harbor Hawks as they struggle to maintain it and possibly swipe the lead back in the Western Division from the Wareham Gatemen, who lead 22 points to 20 in the standings. 0-2 the count and the pitch. Ball one high and outside. Zahid Valenzuela breathed a sigh of relief. 1-2 the count. Valenzuela 1 for 1 on the day so far. Had a double and was stranded at third base in the top of the first inning. Fowler to the set. Looks back the runner at first and throws back over to first. Hyannis jumping back in front of the tag from Lindsley. And the Oklahoma Sooner throws back over to Fowler. Valenzuela, a recent addition to the Wareham Gateman squad. Had to spend a little bit of time in Omaha as the 1-2. Runner goes from first. Hyannis slides in with no throw from Kyle Wilkie, who checks back the runner at third base, and Collins, who stays put. So the attempted double steal not working out for the Gatemen with a runner coming home to tie things up, but putting Hyannis over in scoring position. He reached with a single to put runners on the corners, and now he stands on second base. Still nobody away here in the top of the third inning, and Hyannis in trouble. Their 1-0 lead hanging in the balance on the left-hander Jordan Fowler. He has a 2-2 count on Zahid Valenzuela. Here's the pitch. Cut on and grounded down the third base line, called foul. Dave Perry puts up both hands, and everyone breathes a sigh of relief here amongst the Harbor Hawks faithful who have packed the stadium today here at McKeon Park. Beautiful day for a ball game, albeit hot. And the Harbor Hawks supporters coming out in full force to try and help their team take back first place in the Western Division. They had it going into a game at Spillane Field yesterday, but came up just short. Now the 2-2. This is high and outside, ball 3. A full count on Zahid Valenzuela, two-time College World Series veteran, digging in at the right side of the plate, battling against the sophomore out of Ole Miss, who in his freshman year fell just short of a super regional. His team with a 4 seed in that regional as the 3-2 is cut on and sent high and foul down the first base line out of play. Count remains 3-2. Ole Miss, a favorite to make a long run through the college playoffs and possibly to the World Series this year out in Omaha, but coming up short off of a breakout performance from Tennessee Tech, who qualified for the first regional in their program's history by knocking out Ole Miss down in Oxford. Now Fowler to the set again. Runners on second and third. The 3-2. Cut on that one, grounded over to short. Alex Trella looks back the runner at third, but opts for first, and his throw gets away from Brady Lindsley as the runner comes in to score Collins. Iden's cruising around third base. He stops up there, and Sahid Valenzuela all the way over to second base. He drives in. Harbor Hawks have lost the lead. It is 1-1 with nobody out here in the top of the third inning. We'll wait on the official score for what Sahid Valenzuela did there. Nothing on there just yet. It looks like an error has been charged to the scoreboard, so call that an E6 for Valenzuela. He's able to get an RBI and then advance. Hyannis comes around to score, and so does Valenzuela from second. Shetton cruises into second base, well in front of the relay throw, and that is a 3-1 lead for the Wareham game, and nobody down at the top of the third inning, and the wheels falling off for the Harbor Hawks in the sand. Two RBI knockouts, the hottest hitter Cape Cod right now.
Well, that's the old from East Carolina. 6, Brian Packer.
Nowhere close to over. Brian Packer play now. Fourth hitter for Wareham game. Steps up to the left side against the lefty. Jet lead off the second. Fowler looks at back and deals. Checks the ball in the dirt. Say laid off. It's ball 1. 1-0 the count now on the left fielder out of East Carolina. 3-1 the score. Hyannis trailing now after coming in with a 1-0 lead in the top of the third as the 1-0 misses low and away for ball 2. 2-0 the count. Packard plays his ball at East Carolina with Jake Agnos of the Harwich Mariners, who was recently called to duty with Team USA, the 2-0. Cut on, and that one sent foul into the netting behind home plate. Brushes the netting up with our crowd mic, just set up right behind home. 2-1 now the count. A trio of hits, bringing in a trio of runs for the Gatemen in this top of the third inning. Still nobody down. And a runner on second in Austin Shenton, who just drove in 2. As the 2-1 is check swing at a high fastball. But they say he holds up, and that's a 3-1 count. Brian Packer just barely keeping his wrists from breaking. The lefty Fowler trying to retire the first batter of this inning and give himself a little bit of room to breathe. The 3-1. Raking ball cut on and sent high in the air out towards the gap in left center field. This chases Rivera back to the wall. The center fielder makes the catch at the track, tagging up from second base. Shenton, he slides into third, standing up, or slides into third base, not standing up. That would be a sight for sore eyes, but he advances to third on a sacrifice fly from Packard. There's finally one away here in the inning, and despite the runner advancing, I think that is safe to say it's a sigh of relief for Fowler, as we have a righty getting loose out in the Harbor Hawks bullpen right now. Chad Gassman now coming out to the mound for a word with his lefty, and he makes a point out to the bullpen, and looks like a pitching change is coming up here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network. So that's 2 1/3 innings pitched right there for Jordan Fowler. His day is done. We'll have the final line on him and more when we get back here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network. It's now a 3-1 deficit for the Harbor Hawks as they battle to take first place in the Western Division away from the Wareham Gatemen on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
Back to Chad Gaspin making all the right moves on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Chris Lucy joining you here inside the broadcast booth at McKeon Park. A new pitcher in the game for the Harbor Hawks is Kyle Kemp. He relieves Jordan Fowler after 2 1/3 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts for the lefty out of Ole Miss. 1 walk, but 3 runs on his tab. All of them earned as of now, but possibility for one more stands on third base in Austin Shenton. He reached over there on a sac fly and a double. As Kyle Kemp, the replacement for Fowler, throws a first pitch ball high in sight to Lyle Lockhart, who stands at the left side of the plate. Kyle Kemp, a righty coming out of Lipscomb, pitched in 2 games and pitched an inning and a third in the Cape League season so far. Has yet to allow an earned run as he floats ball 2 high in sight again over the inner half of the plate. Kemp starting the season with Katuitt, but making his way over to Hyannis in a pretty friendly move between two teams as gets to stay in Barnstable. The 2-0. Called strike on the fastball. That one high and tight as well, but catching enough of the plate. Dan Henry catches a strange look from Lyle Lockhart, who is a little surprised. The call looking a little similar to the other 2 pitches as the 2-1, another fastball high and tight is ball 3. Runner on third base is Shenton. He got on with a double that scored 2 of 3 runs for the Gatemen, who now lead 3-1 after coming into this inning trailing 1-0. The 3-1. Hacked on and missed at an outside fastball, strike 2. Cal Kemp pumps up the heat, and with 1 down here in the top of the 3rd inning, gets Hyannis a little bit closer to seeing their way out of a very, very tough frame. Paven Parks due up for the Wareham Gatemen. Now the payoff pitch. Ball 4. That one missing low and away. Kyle Wilkie having to jump out from behind home plate to snag the errant pitch. Trying to keep his frame job up, but he doesn't get his body in front of that ball. There's a possibility he gets away, and Austin Shenton comes in to score and makes this thing 4-0. 4-1, excuse me. And now there's runners on the corners. Lyle Lockhart reaching with a walk. And now Paven Parks steps up to the left side of the plate. Wind blowing out here at McKeon Park. Parks is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And he takes ball 1, low and inside. Lockhart advances to still no plate appearances on the day. That was his 2nd walk. He takes now a 2-step lead off of first base. Shenton on 3rd. Double play depth from the infielders, except Lindsley, the first baseman. 1-0. Fastball missing high and outside. 2-0 the count, and now Wilkie, the catcher, out for a word with Kemp. Relatively new battery here. These two have never seen each other in this capacity. Catching duties for Kemp early on this year were both Pedro Pages. But the FAU backstop, getting a night off tonight after losing a 4-game hit streak the night before. Pedro played in 5 consecutive games, so getting himself a breather there. As now Paven Parks digs in for the 2-0. And it's a called strike on an off-speed pitch over the inner half of the plate at belt level. 2-1 the count. A long season, so you want to get everybody rest, but regardless, you have to play a game like tonight to win because this is the battle for the Western Division. It looks like it will be all season long as the 2-1 misses low and away for ball 3. And Kyle Kemp comes in and gets in 3 ball counts to the first 2 hitters he faces. He locked Lyle Lockhart after coming in relief of Jordan Fowler. And now he's a pitch away from possibly loading the bases. Ryan Kreidler, the shortstop from UCLA, drew up. Hyannis trailing 3-1 as another throw over to first base. Lyle Lockhart dives in behind the tag. He's called safe by the first base umpire, Mike Beal. Still a 3-1 count. The pitch, runner goes. And the 3-1 is hacked on and sent foul behind home. Brings the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes as the Wareham Gatemen flash their hand there, as they say. Hit and run was on there, but Paven Parks unable to execute to a T. Getting bat on ball, but just not enough on the fastball of Kemp. Brings the count to 3 balls, 2 strikes. A big payoff pitch coming for the Lipscomb righty. The pitch, and it is cut on and poked out into right field on the gap on the left side for a base hit. Shenton comes to score. Stopping over at third base, Lockhart. And Paven Parks works an RBI single with 1 out here in the top of the 3rd inning. And Hyannis now trails 4-1 against the Gatemen.
The shortstop from UCLA, number 5, Ryan Kreidler.
So a nightmare inning for Hyannis in the top frame of the 3rd. Kreidler now coming to the plate for the Wareham Gatemen. And this thing not going as Harbor Hawks faithful was expecting or hoping. Pitching has been solid in the last couple of games, but really hitting the skids today. And the pitch, cut on and missed. 0-1 the count. Kreidler 0-1 on the day with a fielder's choice. He also stole a base in the top frame of the 2nd. And that's not to say the Harbor Hawks don't have the bats to get back in this thing, but you dig a big hole for yourself going down 3 runs this early in a ball game. As the 0-1 is hacked on and missed for strike 2. Or hacked on and fouled back behind home, pardon me. I mean, yesterday, 1 run was the difference between these 2 ball clubs. The solo shot from Jeremy Idens that left the yard on the first pitch of the ball game ended up being the difference. Snap throw back over to first base. Kemp trying to keep Paven Parks honest. He reached on an RBI single that advanced Lyle Lockhart to 3rd and scored Austin Shenton. Put the Gatemen out front 4-1. 1 down here in the top of the 3rd inning. Another snap throw back over to first. Another slide from Paven Parks. He goes in head first and is safe. Brady Lindsley still holding him on. Outfielders playing back. Neither of the corner outfielders really playing anywhere close to the lines. Center fielder Rivera going straight away. The 0-2. Cut on and nibbled foul behind home. Count remains 0-2. Ryan Kreidler just trying to fight through this at bat and see if he can provide a little bit more cushion for the Wareham Gatemen. Kreidler, no stranger to Summer League success. Hit .256 for Mankato in the Northwest League last summer as he takes the 0-2, low and inside for ball 1. Running fastball there from Kemp, missing the spot. First ball of the at-bat for Kreidler. So he's still trying to fight his way back into it. He's fouled off a couple in an 0-2 count. Here's the 1-2. Bouncing ball almost gets away from Wilkie, but the backstop from Clemson gets on top of it, blocks it with his chest protector, and the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Shadows starting to creep over into center field now. They've pretty much covered up Eric Rivera, who's probably enjoying the shade after a long couple of innings in the sun. This third inning just continuing to stretch for the Wareham Gatemen, who jumped out to a 4-1 lead as the 2-2 comes in. It's ball 3. Runner on first takes off, and he's into second, standing up. Haven Parks with a stolen base as the ball is squibbed away from Wilkie behind home. Official score gives him officially a stolen base. Could have argued a bit for the pass ball there, but saying that Parks had a good jump on it. The official score did. And now the count is 3-2 to Ryan Kreidler. Kemp, a pitch away from loading the bases. The payoff. Cut on and clubbed over on the left side of the infield. It eats up Alec Trella. A run comes in to score. It's 5-1 Wareham, and still only 1 out here in the top of the third inning as Alec Trella just tried to forehand the grounder off the bat of Kreidler and lets him on first with an E6 and brings a run to pass. Lyle Lockhart coming in to score. And Haven Parks moving all the way over to third base. 2 pitches, 2 bases there for Haven Parks. Ryan Kreidler on first, and deja vu all over again. Another runner on the corner situation. Isaac Collins, or Luke Roscom now at the plate. Collins on deck. He started this inning. And the first pitch to Roscom is a strike swinging. Catcher out of Nebraska down 0-1 in the count. 5-1, the Gatemen lead here at McKeon Park. Been all Wareham early on. The 1-0, or the 0-1, I should say, is cut on and grounded over to Trella, who backhand stabs over at second. His throw over from short to second, gets away from Braden Como. Another run comes in to score. Everybody's safe. It's 6-1 Wareham, still 1 down in the top of the third. Haven Parks coming in to score, and that was a nice stop right there from Trella, keeping that ball from going into the outfield as it scored a single by the official score for the Harbor Hawks. Roscom now standing on first base. The lineup turning over, or not turning over, but we all have to cross out the next inning in our scorebooks and put a big 3 over it as Isaac Collins comes for his second ups of the game and, more importantly, his second ups of the inning. He started this whole thing with a double, came around to score. Batter scored on the error, says the official scorer, so you can count that not as an RBI single for Roscom, but regardless, Hyannis in a very tough situation, and now Coach Gassman out to the mound again for words with Kyle Kemp, who has faced 5 batters, or he's faced 4 batters in this inning, and has yet to record an out, and they'll take the ball out of his hands. Coach Gassman sends his righty back to the dugout and calls for another out of the Harbor Hawks bullpen as we'll take another step back here. Second pitching change of the inning for Hyannis. Still only 1 down in the top of the third as Hyannis letting this one slip away at the moment. It's 6-1 Wareham here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
Back to Chad Gassman making all the right moves on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Chris Lucy back with you here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Still only one down here in the top of the third inning, and I say still because this has really been a long one for the Gatemen, who have been able to plate 6 runs in this frame and wear through 2 pitchers for the Harbor Hawks as Zach Cohn comes in relief of Kyle Kemp, who's unable to record an out in his outing. Final line on Kemp before we get to the numbers on Cohn. No innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 runs, 0 earned, and a walk. 0-1 now the count on the man at the plate, Isaac Collins, who started this inning with a double. He's 1 for 1 on the day. Runners on first and second, only 1 down. Righty Cohn deals to the lefty at the plate. And it's ball 1 in the dirt. Count a ball and a strike for Cohn. Cohn playing his college ball at Central Michigan. 3.37 ERA and 8 innings pitched on the summer for Hyannis. He looks back at the runner at second and deals. High and outside, ball 1. Like I mentioned, a 3.37 ERA and 8 innings pitched for Hyannis. 10 strikeouts to only 4 walks. He has a 2-1 count, trying to see Hyannis out of a disastrous inning. They've seen all 6 of the Gatemen runs come to the plate in just this frame as Wareham is batted around. 2 pitchers being forced from the game, Jordan Fowler and Kyle Kemp in this inning alone. The 2-1. Ball 3, high in sight, almost gets away from Wilkie. The backstop out of Clemson, laboring behind the plate in the hot sun right now. One of few parts of the park still drenched in sunlight, as left and center field, and now the left side of the infield completely covered in sunlight. And from the right-handed batter's box onward, still getting some sun. The 3-1. Bouncer for ball 4. And Zach Cohn faces one batter, lets up a walk, and loads the bases as the third inning drags on here from McKeon Park. Jeremy Idens up to the plate as now the Harbor Hawks look for anything on the ground to try and get out of this thing. Idens with a single in his first ups in this inning. He's 1 for 2 on the day. Flew out to right field for the first out of the game. Stands at the right-hand side against the righty Cohn, who kicks and fires. Low and outside for ball 1. Kyle Wilkie jumps up from behind the plate and sprints out to his pitcher for a word. Bases juiced, nowhere to put Jeremy Idens. Hyannis down 6-1 here in the top of the third inning, only 1 away. Double play would get Hyannis out of a tempestuous inning, but they'd have to do it against Jeremy Idens, who's eaten up the Harbor Hawks over his past 2 games. Had a leadoff home run against Hyannis yesterday that ended up being the difference in a 3-4 Wareham win. Idens batting .333 overall on the summer. 14 hits and 42 at-bats. The 1-0. Called strike from the righty Cohn. Breaking ball gets over, and it's a 1-1 count. Cohn to the set. The 1-1. Misses low and away on a breaking pitch. 2-1 now the count. Zach's parents came down for a visit earlier this season, actually just left today. We wish them well. His father, Zach's father, recovering from leukemia, was able to still make the trip out as the 2-1 bounces low and outside. Ball 3. Very supportive family. I mean, Zach goes to Central Michigan, so just a little ways away from his hometown, where his parents are at almost every game. The 3-1. Ball 4, and that is a walked-in run to make it 7-1 Wareham. Still only one out in the top of the third inning. And it continues. 7 runs in this frame for the Gatemen. And Chad Gassman at the top step of his dugout right now, having a word with the home plate umpire as another arm starts to at least toss a bit out in the Harbor Hawks bullpen. Nobody throwing to a catcher yet. But there's a lefty, or a righty, excuse me, starting to get his arm loose. And now Ray Korn, the pitching coach for Hyannis, out to have a word with Zach Cohn. Zahid Valenzuela, the next man due up for the Wareham Gatemen, who have plated 6 runs in just this inning. It's a tough spot for Hyannis as they really came into this game with high hopes, and it's still a young ball game, only the top of the third inning, but the Harbor Hawks really need to get their way through this so they can get back to the plate and get some offense going themselves. The only run of the game for the Harbor Hawks, they've only scratched together 2 hits coming off of the home run from Todd Lott. Outside of that, Will Proctor for the Gatemen has been able to work his way around the Harbor Hawks as now Ray Korn steps off the field of play and everyone starts going back to their places. Fresh count to Zahid Valenzuela, who steps up. He's 1 for 2 on the day. Reached both times he's come to the plate, once with a double in the first and then an E6 earlier in this inning. Bases still jammed. Cohn trying to stop the bleeding here for the Harbor Hawks as the first pitch from the righty to the lefty, or the switch hitting Zahid Valenzuela at the plate, who stands in the left-handed batter's box, is ball 1. 1-0 the count to the Arizona native. As a native of Detroit. Sets and deals. Called ball low and away. 2-0 the count. Wareham with a 1-point lead over the Harbor Hawks right now, who have 21 points on the Cape League season, the 2-0. Cut on and sent high in the air. This one tracking towards the left field line, and it dinks in foul just beyond the line towards the Harbor Hawks bullpen. 2-1 the count. A big strike right there from Cohn as Valenzuela steps back into the left-handed batter's box against the righty. It's an old baseball adage that lefties get an advantage against right-handed pitchers because breaking stuff will move in on their hands rather than away from their bats, but it's not easy being a left-handed hitter at this hour at McKeon Park, the 2-1. Ball 3, it gets away from Wilkie behind home, and a runner comes in to score in Luke Roscom, and it is 8-1 Gatemen as everyone advances on the base paths. So first base is open now, but Roscom comes in to score. And it's a 7-run deficit for the Harbor Hawks as ball 3 is called a pass ball. And Zahid Valenzuela steps back into the left-handed batter's box with a hitter's count. Cal Wilkie unable to stop the breaking ball. And now the 3-1. Cut on and sent foul behind home as Zahid Valenzuela loses the bat in his swing, and it hits off the netting right in front of Wareham manager Don Snedden. Austin Shenton's in the on-deck circle. He, with a big smile on his face, comes out with some pine tar from Valenzuela, as well as his bat. The infielder from Cal State Fullerton obliges, puts a little bit more pine tar on there, and steps back into left-handed batter's box where sun continues to pour into his eyes. As it's tough as the sun comes right into the eyes of left-handed batters who sit at the left-hand side of the plate. Now the 3-2. Cut on and grounded up the middle. This one going to Trello again. Dies out in the dirt. Throws over to first on the forehand. And they get an out, but another run comes across. It is 9-0 Wareham. 9-1 Wareham out here in the top of the third inning. But finally, there's 2 down. And Zach Cohn can breathe a major sigh of relief as Austin Shenton comes up to the plate, who isn't an easy out, but at the very least, Harbor Hawks fans have only one man on base. He stands on third, Jeremy Idens. actually just came over to score. So that is Isaac Collins, that is Idens actually, who leads off of third base. Collins came in to score. And Sahid Valenzuela with the RBI on the 6-4 putout. 2 pitches came into Shenton as I babbled onward. It's 0-2 on the designated hitter today out of Florida International. Scorching Cape League pitching right now. Leads the league in average, but is a strike away from ending a 9-run Gateman rally, and the 0-2 is high and outside for ball 1. Shenton, a .416 batting average, 9 RBIs in 48 at-bats, 20 hits. Here comes the 1-2. Misses just outside and high on the fastball, ball 2. 2-2 the count, 2 down in the top of the third inning. Wareham out front 9-1 on a 9-run rally here in the third. Hyannis looking to put it down. Cone with the 2-2. Cut on and slipped foul. That one down third, out of play. Shenton hits the ball high in the air, but not quite the right direction. And Hyannis has another chance to end the Gateman rally. We've seen 9 come across in this inning. Here's the 2-2. Ball 3, high and outside. Zach Cohn has walked 2 since he's come in relief of Kyle Kemp. Harbor Hawks pitchers altogether have walked 4 in only 3 innings. The 3-2. Cut on and sent high in the air out to Todd Lott in left field. He tracks back and closes his glove on the final out of what was an exhausting inning for the Harbor Hawks. They come in with a 1-run lead and come out of the top of the third, trailing 9-1, an 8-run deficit, and the Harbor Hawks have to chip away in the bottom half of the frame with the 2, 3, and 4 men, Braden Como, Matt Barefoot, and Trevor Hauber due up in the order for Hyannis when we get back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
Welcome back inside McKeon Park here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Braden Como leading off for Hyannis, trying to chip away at what is an 8-run deficit for Hyannis as they let up 9 runs in the previous frame and now trail 9-1. In the first pitch to Como is a called strike over the outer half of the plate. Will Proctor back on the mound after a prolonged rest in the Wareham dugout. The righty sets and deals the 0-1. Misses just inside and low for ball 1. The field was almost completely drenched in sun to start the third inning, and now it's almost completely covered in shade. The 1-1. Cut on, grounded foul, third base side. Scoots past Chad Gassman in the third base coaching box, out of play. 1-2 now, the count on Como. The only little bits of the field still getting sunlight are over and right, namely the Wareham Gateman bullpen and down the right field foul line. The 1-2. Buckling breaking ball draws a check swing from Como for strike 3. Home plate umpire Dan Henry was calling the strike either way on that one. Another looking K for Proctor. And that's 1 away here in the bottom of the third inning. Proctor with his 4th strikeout of the evening. He's been rolling on the Harbor Hawks, who now send Matt Barefoot up to the plate. He's at the right side, and the righty kicks and deals high and away for ball 1. Braden Como drops to 1 for 2 on the day with a looking strikeout. He singled earlier in this game, and now Matt Barefoot looks for his first official plate appearance. He walked, and the next pitch he sees is cut on and clubbed out into left field and fair for a base hit. Braden Como stops after a turnaround first base. Relay throw comes in from Packard and left, and that's a 1-out single for the Campbell Camel. Today's designated hitter for the Harbor Hawks brings up Trevor Hauber with a runner on first. And 1 away in the bottom of the 3rd. Harbor Hawks trying to chip away at a 9-1 Gateman edge out here at McKeon Park as these two teams do battle for the top spot in the Western Division. Hauber at the left side. The righty Proctor kicks and deals. High fastball, low for ball 1. Missing the outer half of the black. Hauber digs in again. The Bulldog deals to the Sun Devil. Check swing and a called strike from the home plate umpire, Dan Henry. 1-1 the count. Now the 1-1. Cut on. That one grounded right back to Lyle Lockhart at first. He steps on the bag. Tag applied at second base to Barefoot. And that, my friends, is a 3-6 double play to end the bottom of the 3rd inning. So Proctor faces the minimum amount of batters after letting up a single to Matt Barefoot. The 3-6 double play ends things in the bottom of the 3rd and brings Wareham back out for the top of the 4th. Part of their order due up when we return here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Stay tuned. Harbor Hawks trying to keep a big lead for the Wareham Gatemen at only 8 runs. It's 9-1 Gatemen as we take a pause here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's Voices of the Hawks, Chris Lucy and Lyle Goldstein.
Back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network, Zach Cohn out for his 2nd inning of work. Deals a first pitch ball high and outside. And we're underway here in the top of the 4th. Packard up at the plate for the Gatemen and the 1-0. Called strike on the fastball. Packard had a sacrifice fly in a massive top of the 3rd inning for the Gatemen, where they scored all 9 of their runs and took an 8-run advantage over Hyannis. Harbor Hawks trailing 9-1 here at McKeon Park as my broadcast partner Lyle Goldstein joins me back in the booth. We missed you up here, Lyle.
It's been a while.
The 1-1 cut on and sent high in the sky down the left field line and foul. We do a solo inning for each play-by-play guy, as you picked up here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. So nothing against Lyle for leaving, but it gets lonely up here when you have to take 3 breaks and you watch everyone's beloved Harbor Hawks struggle through what was just an endless inning, as the 1-2 is a called strike 3 right over the heart of the plate on the off-speed offering from Cone. And that's the first out of the top of the fourth.
The first base produced number 18, Lyle Lockhart.
Great looking strikeout right there from Cone, who is able to finally get himself an official full inning off of that one. Lyle Lockhart Jr. stepping up now. Walked and scored in the top of the third. He's at the left side. The righty Cone to the set and the pitch. Check swing. They appeal down third base. And Dave Perry says safe. 1-0 the count now on the first baseman out of Houston. The righty moves. And it's a called strike to the lefty at the plate. Evens the count at a ball and a strike. Lockhart, with a big performance in the regional for the Houston Cougars, takes low and away for ball 2. Hit 3 home runs in the Chapel Hill regional for Houston. Was second team all-conference in the American Conference this year. The switch hitter digs back into the left side. And now here's the 2-1 from Cone. Called strike on the fastball, knee level right over the inner half of the black. 2-2 the count. 297 batting average and 229 at bats for the Cougars. 44 RBI, 47 walks to lead his team, a very productive hitter. The 2-2. Hits him right on the back knee. That is a tough one to take. A fastball, too. He'll need a second to gather himself. Stays upright as Cal Wilkie comes out to give a fresh ball to Cone. Training staff out to take a look. Lyle Lockhart hit by a pitch, but he's advancing down to first base. Looks like he'll be able to stay in this one as a couple trainers escort him over to the bag and now leave the field of play. So a runner on first now with 1 out. Paven Parks back to the plate for the Gateman, the third baseman out of Kent State. 1 for 2 today with a single, an RBI single in the top of the third, and a strikeout. Drove in 1 of 9 runs for the Gateman, who put a runner on base with 1 out here in the top of the fourth. Wareham leading 9-1 over the Harbor Hawks. Going to the set. Time called by Parks, who steps out of the left-handed batter's box to take a look down the first base line. Digs back in now. The pitch from Cone. Wave and a miss. Strike 1 at the fastball. The back elbow protector coming off of Paven Parks as he gave that one a good rip. 0-1 the count.
And Cone seems to be finding a little bit more command of his pitches here in this inning, outside of course, the hit by pitch to Lockhart, but he got Packard with the looking fastball and now seems to have control of that heater.
And the 0-1. Cut on and grounded over to second base. Braden Como tries to field the ball, but bobbles it. Throws over to first on the recovery, but unable to get the speedster Parks. And that will be a reach on an E4 for Paven. And there's runners on first and second with only 1 down here in the top of the fourth.
Yeah, it's just been a tough night so far all around for the Harbor Hawks, both pitching and defense. That's the 3rd error on Hyannis tonight. That one, a pretty slow ground ball, taking Como just a step over to his left, but hits off the heel of his glove, couldn't quite recover in time.
Tough play for Como right there. 3rd error for the Harbor Hawks, all 3 of them coming from the middle infield. And the next pitch from Cone is low and outside to Ryan Kreidler for ball 1, the shortstop from UCLA. 0 for 2 on the day, reached on a fielder's choice and an E6. Now Cone to the set again. The righty deals to the righty at the plate. Ball 2, low and away. Breaking pitch, missing the spot, and the count is 2-0. Runners on first and second. Wareham out front 9-1 over Hyannis with 1 down in the top of the fourth. As the lights start to come on here at McKeon Park, the Harbor Hawks need to start heating themselves up as well if they want to dig in and give Wareham a run for its money. 2-0. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Off-speed offering from Cone. Gets him back in the count. And Kryler digs back into the right-hand side of the batter's box. Cone looks back, the runner at second and deals. A pitch that is cut on and slicing out to right field. Trevor Hopper runs into the gap and makes the catch for out number 2 as both runners retreat to their bases. Big time out for the Harbor Hawks, Lyle, as Hyannis gets down 8 runs. It seems like almost every out they get is starting to be a big out.
Yeah, at this point, if you want to mount any type of comeback, you're down 8 runs. The bullpen's going to have to prevent the Gatemen from scoring anything further, and then they're just going to have to chip back a little bit at a time on offense. So that line drive out to Hopper, it took a good beat on it. A crucial out number 2, especially with guys on base.
And Luke Roscom coming to the plate. He had a single in his last plate appearance, and he takes ball 1 low and inside, standing at the left-hand side of the dish. The righty Cone behind in the count 1-0. Runners on first and second, 2 away off the nice running catch from Trevor Hopper. And the 1-0 called strike on a little off-speed offering inside. 1-1 the count. Pitch coming around belt level. Cone to the set. The 1-1. And there's a called strike again. 1-2 the count. Roscom playing his college ball at Nebraska. He's been on the Scholar Athlete Honor Roll every semester out in Lincoln. The 1-2. Wave and a miss. Strike 3. So the Harbor Hawks work a clean inning to bounce back from a very rocky third where the Harbor Hawks saw 9 runs scored. And now we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Kyle Wilkie, Brady Lindsley, and Todd Lott do up the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for Hyannis when we get back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Cape Cod Baseball League on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Let's get you back to the game.
Back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network alongside Lyle Goldstein. I'm Chris Lucy. Bottom of the 4th inning here. Hyannis trails 9-1 against the Wareham Gatemen. Kyle Wilkie stepping up for the Harbor Hawks, followed up by Brady Lindsley and Todd Lott as they'll come out again against Will Proctor. The righty out of Georgia starts his first inning of work with a strike swinging from Wilkie. Catcher out of Clemson, 0 for 1 today on a fielder's choice in the bottom of the 1st. The 0-1. Big looping breaking pitch at Wilkie's eyes over the heart of the plate. 1-1 the count. Game started at 6. We're an hour and 38 minutes deep, and Wilkie's only seen the plate once. 1-1. Misses low and inside. Count 2-1. And that's noteworthy because there are some Gatemen already with 3 plate appearances as Wareham has really just been able to eat Harbor Hawks pitching, the 2-1. Missing low and away for ball 3. 3-1 the count. A 9-run top of the third inning for the Gatemen. The big headline for this game right now, as it's put Hyannis behind big, the 3-1. Cut on and weakly grounded over to the third base side. Parks comes in on the grass, throws across the diamond. Big stretch from Lockhart over at first. He can't get the ball, though. The first baseman watches it sail into right field. Second baseman Sahid Valenzuela coming over to cover the ball. Wilkie advances to second base on the throw. And that looks like it'll be a hit and then an advance on the throw. So Wilkie with a base knock to start off the bottom of the fourth inning.
And I was surprised Paven Parks let it stay fair. I thought he was going to at first let it go foul, and then it, for a minute, looked like he was going to make a Sports Center type of play as he barehanded the ball coming on the run and made a strong throw over to first, a big stretch, and Lyle Lockhart, but couldn't quite pick it out of the dirt as it sailed behind him, and Wilkie cruised into second. And that's all it takes. Leadoff man aboard. You're not going to get it all back at once, but just try to chip away a little bit at a time.
Now Brady Lindsley at the left side of the plate with a runner on second. Takes ball one high and away. Want to know the count? A full split out there from Lyle Lockhart. I mean, that takes some guts right there. A lot of time on the foam rollers to get that kind of flexibility. 1-0. This is high and outside on the pitch for ball two. Wilkie takes his helmet off over at second, reached on a single in the infield, and then advanced over there on a wild throw from the third baseman Parks. Catcher Roscom back out to have a word with his right-hander out of Georgia, and now the Cornhusker retreats behind home plate. Two-0 the count on Lindsley. He's 0 for 1 on a strikeout. Now the 2-0. And the righty gets a strike over the outer half. Fastball brings the count to 2 balls and a strike. Wind has completely died out here in Hyannis. The flag out in right center field hanging limp at McKeon Park. 2-1. Swing and a miss, strike two. So Brady Lindsley with 4 RBI and 20 at-bats for the Harbor Hawks definitely has the potential to drive in some runs, but he needs to watch out for the strikeout. Defend the plate and embrace the two-strike approach that really helped Hyannis get rolling this year as the 2-2 is cut on and sent high in the air out towards right center field. Kyle Wilkie on second retreats to the bag, looks to tag up, but a big throw from Idens out in center field keeps him from advancing. Wilkie stays put. There's one away here in the bottom of the fourth. And everyone wearing Harbor Hawks white and orange is happy to see at the plate right now. It is Todd Lott. He's 1 for 1. His solo home run in the bottom of the second inning, the only run across the board for Hyannis right now.
And just one of the 4 hits so far, too. Will Proctor throwing a gem here at McKeon Park so far.
And the first pitch to Todd Lott is cut on and cranked out into the gap in right center field. It dunks in for a base hit. Cal Wilkie cruising around third base to score. And an RBI single from Todd Lott placed the second run of the game for Hyannis. With 1 down here in the bottom of the fourth, Todd Lott doing it all, putting the team on his back again. It is 9-2 Wareham. And I say again, Lyle, because Lott was the impetus behind a come-from-behind win against the Orleans Firebirds in the second leg of a doubleheader, not only hitting the game-tying home run in that contest, but also the eventual game winner in proverbial extras in the 8th, as they only play 7 in doubleheaders out here on the Cape. And a first pitch to Alec Trella is called a strike, low and away. 0-1 the count. Righty at the plate, righty on the mound. Hyannis trailing 9-2. 1 down in the bottom of the fourth inning. Lott with a 2-step lead off of first, the 0-1. Cut on and blipped foul behind home. 0-2 the count. And this season really has just been the continuation of a hot streak for Todd Lott, as he was 11 for his last 28 in the month of June at UL Lafayette, and has just continued his roll out here on the Cape. Now the 0-2 to Trella. Breaking ball just misses the zone for ball 2. 2-2 the count.
I mean, Todd Lott really didn't get off to the hottest of starts. He's got 14 strikeouts to his name on the year, a lot of that coming through the first 10 games of the season. But often it just takes some players a couple of weeks to find their groove a little bit.
And the 1-2. Bouncing ball gets away from the catcher. And then on the throw to second when Lott tried to steal, Roscom sails it into center field, and Idens covering from behind the second base. The center fielder coming in to make a nice grab, but absolutely no idea where Roscom was trying to go with that ball. He threw it into outer space.
That ball nowhere near second base. I mean, Idens came in and recovered it quickly. I don't think Lott had a chance to get to third, but that ball had no chance out of the hand of the catcher in Roscom to get Lott.
Now Proctor settles in the 2-2. The pitch. This is low and away for ball 3. Todd Lott on second base, advancing on a stolen base, and then a ridiculous throw from the backstop out of Nebraska. 3-2, the count to Trella. Waves his bat over his head. And now the payoff pitch. Cut on and sent foul down the first base line. That one getting out. And the count now 3-2. Lights starting to come on here at McKeon Park. And we mentioned the hot streak from Todd Lott. It wasn't really a change in any mechanics or anything that brought him from a tough start at UL Lafayette to a scorching hot summer. It was really just a change in approach and an uptick in aggressiveness. The 3-2. Cut on and roped up the middle on the fly into center field for a base hit. Chad Gassman holds up Lott at second as Idens rifles the relay throw in from center. And Alec Trella works a full count single with one down here in the bottom of the third. And the Harbor Hawks are in business. Runners on the corners with Eric Rivera coming to the plate.
And that's the right move from Chad Gassman to hold Lott at third. First off, Lott, not a ton of speed. We saw him get thrown out at the plate, completely hosed yesterday by about 5 feet on a relay from Brian Packard in left field. But then in this ball game, you're down 7 runs, 1 out. You're not going to, 1 run scoring on that play is not going to change the course of the game. So don't take any risks at the plate. Just let your offense keep doing their thing. And Eric Rivera, who's coming to the plate and starting to find his stroke a little bit, see if he can do some further damage.
And now out to the mound comes Don Snedden, manager for the Wareham Gatemen. Someone warming up in the bullpen for Wareham right now. Although the skipper for the Gatemen will come off the mound. That's actually Jim Lawler stepping on the mound there. Excuse me. Pitching coach for the Wareham Gatemen. He glares back over at the man getting loose out in the outfield for Wareham. However, he leaves Will Proctor out on the mound with runners on the corners and only 1 down here in the bottom of the 4th. Hyannis trying to chip away at a 9-2 deficit here at McKeon Park. Eric Rivera at the plate. And he swings at the first pitch and sends it foul behind home. 0-1 the count on the Owl out of Florida Atlantic. Has yet to record an official plate appearance. He only walked in the bottom of the 2nd. Got all the way to third base, but stranded there on the flyout from Davis Wenzel. Corkscrews the bat over his back shoulder, and the 0-1. This is low and outside. 1-1 the count. Todd Lott, 90 feet away from scoring the 3rd run of the game for the Harbor Hawks. Takes a 2-step lead off the bag down at 3rd. Across from him, Alec Trella stands on first with a 2-step lead, held on by Lyle Lockhart, the 1-1. Misses low and away again for ball 2. 2 breaking pitches from Proctor, not quite spotting up as they're trying to stay away from the bat of Rivera, who went 1 for 2 last night. The 2-1. Cut on and sent high in the air out towards left center field. It dinks in front of Packard, the left fielder, for a base hit. Todd Lott kicks up some dirt as he chugs down the third base line and scores the 3rd run of the game for Hyannis. Stopping over at second is Trella. Eric Rivera with the single brings this game to within 6 runs with 1 down here in the bottom of the 4th. It is now 9-3 Wareham. And the Harbor Hawks, slowly but surely, Lyle, starting to chip away. And it looks like they're getting their confidence back as they get things to a lather here.
Eric Rivera's 2nd hit in as many days. Just a little Texas League single. Got it off the label of the bat. Dropped right in front of the left fielder in Packard. And the Harbor Hawks just continuing to rally. Not doing too much. Runners on first and second with 1 out. And now you got the top of the lineup up.
And Davis Wenzel, who's looking to get himself back to good ways at the plate. He's stepping up to the right-hand side of the plate right now. Runners on first and second. Wenzel batting .234 on the Cape League season coming into tonight. And the pitch. Cut on and sent high in the air in the infield. Second base umpire Dave Perry calls an infield fly rule, and Davis Wenzel is retired for out number 2 here in the bottom of the 4th. 2 away, and now Braden Como steps up to the right-hand side of the plate with the rally resting on his shoulders. Runners on first and second. Harbor Hawks trying to chip away at a 6-run deficit here at McKeon Park in the bottom of the 4th. Will Proctor out there for the Gateman right now. He's thrown over 65 pitches in this game, probably approaching his limit, but Don Snedden and the staff over for Wareham trying to let him pitch his way out of this one. The first pitch, cut on and grounded over to short. Looks like he'll do it. Kreidler goes to second for the easy out, and that is a fielder's choice for 6-4 put out to end the bottom of the 4th inning. So Hyannis is able to plate 2 runs on 4 hits, and now we go to the top of the 5th inning. Isaac Collins, Jeremy Idens, and Sahid Valenzuela due up for the Wareham Gatemen as they try to stop the Harbor Hawks, who have picked up a little bit of life in this inning right here. They score 2 runs and now only trail 9-3 as we take a quick pause here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Chris Lucy and Lyle Goldstein.
Welcome back inside McKeon Park. Hyannis trailing 9-3, and Zach Cohen back out to the mound for Hyannis. The righty out of Central Michigan coming on for his 3rd inning of work. He's pitched 1 2/3 already, but had to get the last out of the 3rd inning. He pitched the 4th, and now he's back out for the top of the 5th, and he throws ball 1 low and inside. Isaac Collins, the 9th hitter for the Wareham Gatemen, leading things off. He's followed up by Jeremy Idens and Sahid Valenzuela, the 1 and 2 guys for the Gatemen. The 1-0. Cut on and sent foul behind home. 1-1 the count. Cohen just trying to eat up innings right now for Hyannis as the Harbor Hawks batters are slowly chipping away at what was once an 8-run deficit, now only 6 runs. 9-3 the score here from McKeon Park. 1-1. Cut on or not cut on, held up. Isaac Collins able to keep his wrists from breaking on the check swing. Count now 2-1. Going to the set again. The 2-1. Called strike count 2-2. So Cohen battles back after going down 2-0, but that was one thing that Coach Gassman said has really been a problem for Harbor Hawks pitching so far, is just getting into too many bad counts and having to go to the strike zone to try and get yourself back in. The 2-2. Cut on and clipped foul. Count remains 2-2.
Yeah, that always makes it tough on a pitcher because when you get into hitters' counts, you give in to the hitter. You're going to give him a fastball somewhere out over the plate, which is what all these hitters out in the Cape are looking for, like we've talked about throughout this summer. But when you're ahead of the count, you can use whatever you want in your arsenal, and it has the hitters off balance.
Now Cone sets the 2-2 and fires. Pitch is in on the hands and fisted to the left side of the infield. Alec Trella, the shortstop, ranges into short left field, puts up the backhand stab, and makes the catch for out number 1 in the top of the 5th. So Isaac Collins is retired to start things off, and now Jeremy Idens back up to the plate, 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. Hyannis trying to keep this thing within 6 runs. It's 9-3 Wareham as the righty Cone deals to the righty. And the pitch is high and outside for ball 1. Another righty getting loose out in the bullpen for the Gateman. Looks like this might be all we've seen of Will Proctor, although he's thrown a gem so far in this game, only allowing 3 runs, 4 innings of work. 1-0. Called strike over the outer half. Count now 1-1. Gem might be a little bit of a stretch, Lyle, but it was a gem up into the last inning where Hyannis was able to get those 2 other runs as the next pitch is cut on and golfed foul by Idens down the left field line. It was 4 hits that the Harbor Hawks needed to plate those 2 runs. And beforehand, there had only been 3 hits surrendered through the first 3 innings of work for Proctor, who looks like he might be on the outs. The 1-2. Called strike 3. The Hawks go around the horn on the called looking strikeout for Idens, who drops down to 1 for 3 on the day and brings up Zahid Valenzuela, 2 down now in the top of the 5th inning.
And Zach Cohn's been really good just throughout the entirety of this start. Of course, he came into the game, allowed a couple of walks. There was a wild pitch, but hasn't allowed a hit in 2 1/3 innings. No earned runs, also has 3 punch-outs.
1 run has come to the plate, not on his tab, though. He struck out 3 and walked 2, as you mentioned. Zahid Valenzuela now at the left side, and the righty swings at the first pitch. He throws the first pitch, and it is cut on and sent down to shortstop by the switch hitting Valenzuela, who tries to beat out the 6-3 putout, but cannot do it. Alec Trella beating him out on the throw, and that is a quick top of the 5th inning for the Harbor Hawks, and just what the doctor ordered as they try to battle back from a 9-3 deficit here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. We'll be back after a break, but stick around. Matt Barefoot, Trevor Hauver, and Kyle Wilkie due up when we return here in McKeon Park.
Magic Works Media copyright.
Well, guys, even though we've seen Hyannis struggle a little bit tonight, both in the field and on the mound, the energy here in the dugout has managed to stay fairly high. And that's a lot of credit to a leader on this team, Pedro Pages. It sure is becoming evident his role tonight. His roommate for the summer and current pitcher for Hyannis, Zach Cohn, told Pedro in between innings to keep up his positivity. He said it's been helping him get through the innings and help him not get too down on himself.
All right, Danny, thank you very much. We're back here at McKeon Park in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And if you're just joining us, you've missed a good amount. Gateman up by a score of 9-3, plated 9 runs in the top of the 3rd inning. Hyannis scored 1 in the 2nd on a solo shot from Todd Lott, as well as another pair in the 4th inning. Right-hander Will Proctor makes his way back out to the mound. Head coach Don Snedden opting to let him go back out for inning number 5. He's allowed 3 runs on 7 hits so far to this Harbor Hawks lineup. And he's set to face the heart of the order, Matthew Barefoot, Trevor Harver, and Kyle Wilkie, the 3-4-5.
Yeah, Proctor able to really get a good amount of rest in that top of the 3rd inning and might have shaken him up a little bit as he just wasn't quite the same after that, giving up that 2 spot in the bottom of the 4th inning. But still, Coach Snedden giving him the chance to get back out.
So up to this point in the ball game, Hyannis has actually out-hit the Gatemen. Harbor Hawks have 7 hits. Wareham has 6. But that doesn't properly reflect the score tonight, as Wareham leads by a score of 9-3. We actually do have a pitching change here at McKeon Park. It's right-hander Jared Horn. Jared Horn plays his college ball at Cal Berkeley. Harbor Hawks have seen him once already this season, as he's set to face Matthew Barefoot. First pitch is a fastball high. Horn on the summer, 8 1/3 innings pitched, an 8.64 ERA, has allowed 15 hits and struck out 9. Counters with a high ball to Matt Barefoot. 2-0 the count now to the Campbell outfielder, who's doing the designated hitting tonight. 1 for 1 day with a walk. Horn goes from the windup. The 2-0 pitch, a swing and a miss. Matthew Barefoot cuts right through that one. 2-1 the count to Barefoot, who's got 12 RBIs on the summer. And with that hit tonight, his average has been pushed up to 400 exactly. Now the 2-1. Fastball misses up and away.
This wouldn't be the first 400 hitter that Horn has seen all summer, as he was teammates with his Cal teammate out here on the Cape in Andrew Vaughn.
Now kicks and fires the 3-1. Fastball misses inside, and Matthew Barefoot draws his second walk of the night, third time reaching base, and the leadoff man's aboard for the Harbor Hawks in the bottom of the 5th.
Vaughn, of course, the Golden Spikes Award winner out for the Cal Bears this year, hit 400 for Cal in regular season play, and he started off with the Gateman, Lyle, and we were able to see him in one game against Hyannis, but he has since fled, as have 2 other players for Wareham, for Team USA, and Bryson Stott and Mason Fioli.
Well, Horn throws over to first, but Barefoot with a short lead back safely. I think it's safe to say the Harbor Hawks are more than okay with not having to face Andrew Vaughn either last night or tonight, as he was leading the Cape in home runs. He still is, actually, as Trevor Hoover takes a ball high. He was tied with Spencer Torkelson for the home run lead. Each of them had 5. And if that doesn't sound too familiar to you, I'll fill you in. During their regular seasons, when Vaughn played his ball at Cal this season, Torkelson at Arizona State, those were the 2 of the nation's home run leaders. Torkelson sat at 1 with 25 long balls. Vaughn sat at number 2 with 23. 1-0 to Hoover is a fastball taken for a called strike as the count evens at 1-1.
And Torkelson, of course, setting the ASU home run record by a long shot, outpacing Barry Bonds by a good deal.
Took Torkelson less than half a season to shatter that record. That came out at UCLA, the number 11 home run that tied it. Hoover takes a fastball for strike 2. Count is 1 balls and 2 strikes. Barefoot on first. And then the record-breaking home run came out on the Palouse at Washington State. He hit about a 450-foot bomb, clearing the center field wall by a long shot. As his college teammate Trevor Hoover takes a ball outside, evens the count at 2-2. But Torkelson, another man making his way out to Team USA, one of very few freshmen to make his way onto that squad. And Andrew Vaughn, the Golden Spikes winner, doing more of the same as Barefoot dives back to the bag on a B-move pickoff from the right-hander in Horn. The score is 9-3 at McKeon Park in favor of the Gatemen. No outs in the bottom of the 5th. Hoover locked in at a 2-2 count. The pitch from Horn misses high as the count fills up 3-2. The third baseman in Parks not playing the bunt. Behind the bag at third, a quick pickoff from Horn as Barefoot took about a step off the bag but gets back safely. Ryan Kreidler playing a little bit up the middle. A few steps over to his left at shortstop. Sahid Valenzuela, more the same at second, a few off to his right. The payoff pitch from Horn. Fastball taken upstairs for ball 4. Jared Horn issues back-to-back walks to start the bottom of the 5th to the Harbor Hawks. Hoover jogs down to first. Moving over to second is Matthew Barefoot. And Hyannis is rallying again, this time in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, walk, something that obviously plagued the Gatemen yesterday, as they issued 7 free passes to the Harbor Hawks. Were still somehow able to come away with a 4-3 win against Hyannis, but not something you can do even with a 6-run advantage.
So far tonight, 4 walks issued by the Gateman pitching staff, 2 from Will Proctor, and 2 now from Jared Horn. Proctor's final line. We touched on it briefly at the start of the inning. 4 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 7 hits, walked 2, and punched out 4. Kyle Wilkie now steps into the right-handed side of the box, the Clemson catcher. He's had a 1-for-2 day. He's singled in his last at-bat and advanced to second on an E5. Haven Parks tried to make a barehanded play and sailed the throw to the first baseman, Lyle Lockhart. Horn checks the runners, comes home to Wilkie. Fastball misses inside. First pitch ball to the Clemson catcher. Wilkie's got 6 hits to his name this summer. He's hitting .285. Auver gets his lead at first. Lockhart playing behind him and behind the bag. The 1-0, swinging a foul behind home plate and off the netting. So we've seen Wilkie kind of do it all so far for this Harbor Hawks ball club. We've seen him gun down runners on the base paths. Of course, none so far tonight. But also swinging a good bat, much like he did at Clemson, at the highest batting average on the Tigers ball club this season. Now the 1-1. Swung on and cut foul, looping out of play down the right side.
And that's saying a lot. Clemson with a very good team this year, able to qualify for a regional, host a regional at that. And if Wilkie didn't have a game tonight, he'd be watching his teammate Logan Davidson compete in the home run derby for the College World Series out in Omaha, Nebraska.
As you mentioned, Clemson hosted a regional, but they lost to Vanderbilt as Wilkie fights off a breaking ball from Jared Horn and sends it foul. Gets out of play on the right side again. Logan Davidson, as you mentioned, a Falmouth Commodore, man shortstop on most nights for Hyannis' Western Division foe. They currently sit last in the West, 8 points back of the Gatemen. 2-2 breaking ball from Jared Horn is looked at for strike 3 by Kyle Wilkie. He punches out for the first time tonight. First strikeout for the right-hander Horn, as it'll bring up Brady Lindsley. 1 out here for the Harbor Hawks in the bottom of the 5th. Brady Lindsley, a catcher by trade at Oklahoma, but manning first base tonight as he has much of this young summer so far. Lindsley arrived a little bit later than the majority of this ball club. But most of these Cape League teams have 3 catchers, so they have to work the other guys into the lineup any way they can. First pitch to Lindsley. Fastball misses inside for ball 1.
Well, at that point, when you have so many, when you have a wealth of catchers or a wealth of players at any position, it almost becomes the responsibility of the player to try and pick up a new position to make himself a bit more available for the club to use.
Lindsley picking up first base. Pedro Pages has done that as well this season. Matthew Barefoot playing with the mind of Jared Horn out on the base paths at second as Lindsley sends a high looping fly ball into short left field. Coming in a couple of steps is Packard, makes the catch for out number 2. Runners retreating back to their bags. Harbor Hawks have 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th, still trail 9-3. And Todd Lott coming to the plate looking to extend the rally. If anybody's going to do that, it'd be him so far tonight, having the best night of any of the Harbor Hawks hitters. 2-for-2 night, 2 RBIs, solo shot in the 2nd, that clearing the wall in left center field. Also an RBI single in the 4th with a stolen base and a run scored. Horn takes a deep breath into the set. The right-hander deals. Breaking ball swung on and missed for strike 1.
Todd Lott's confidence right now just at an all-time high as, you know, a little bit of aggressiveness shows him what kind of charge he can really put into a baseball if he actually has enough confidence in himself to swing. So he's just looking for the next pitch.
Wiggling that bat above his right shoulder, right by his helmet. Swings at a breaking ball and lines it into center field, getting in front of Idens for a base hit. Barefoot rounding third, heading home. The throw-in by Idens is cut off. Barefoot scores standing up, and the Harbor Hawks have cut the lead to 5. 9-4 your score at McKeon Park. Todd Lott, his 3rd hit of the night, 3rd RBI. He is scorching hot.
Hey, he takes a first pitch strike, and again, it's the mentality he has. Okay, I'll hit the next one, and there he goes. He mashes it out into right center field, drives in a run, and brings Hyannis within 5. This game really starting to look up for the Harbor Hawks after looking very dour for a good while.
Alec Trella steps in, quickly calls time, waving his hand a little bit. Maybe it looks like he's swatting away a bug or something, which is not too uncommon once the sun starts to set here on the harbor. Bugs will start to infiltrate the park as Hoover gets a lead at second. A lot more of the same at first. The pitch from the set from Horn. A called strike on a fastball right at the knees from home plate umpire Dan Henry.
Even these mythical Cape League ball players are not immune to the nauseums that'll attack any good fan anywhere on the Cape. They are nasty little bugs that'll sting you.
Alec Trella, 1 for 2 day, was stranded at second after he singled in his previous at-bat. Swings at that breaking ball and lines it through the left side for a base hit. Hoover being stopped at third by head coach Chad Gassman. Every runner moving up 90 feet, and the Harbor Hawks have the bases loaded in the bottom of the 5th, bringing up the number 9 hitter in Eric Rivera. Alec Trella getting a good piece of that breaking ball from Jared Horn, stayed back on it and just shot it through the left side past the diving third baseman in Parks. A good relay in by the left fielder in Packard. The Harbor Hawks continuing to rally. Eric Rivera with a 1 for 1 day, along with a walk and a stolen base, digs into the right-handed side. The pitch from the set from Horn, taken down low for ball 1. Nine to 4 the score with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. Horn stares down Hoover at third, goes from the set and the 1-0. Misses downstairs again. Eric Rivera in a hitter's count. 2 balls and no strikes. So Hoover on at third, Todd Lott at second, and Alec Trella at first. Jared Horn with a long pause between pitches. Now comes home, misses low and away for ball 3. Eric Rivera currently hitting 189 on the summer, but back-to-back hits in the last 2 days against the Gatemen. Has that bat set and moving above his head. Takes the 3-0 pitch for a called strike. A get-me-over fastball from the right-hander in Horn as the count moves to 3-1.
Chad Gassman makes a hand motion with his hands over down at the third base side. About a foot wide, he thought of the strike zone, that pitch.
Now the 3-1. Called strike 2. Some unpleasant responses from the crowd here at McKeon Park. Rivera was a couple of steps down to first base, and Dave Henry extending that right arm to indicate strike 2 as the count's now full. Rivera calls time, puts his left foot out of the batter's box to take a sign from Chad Gassman. Now back in and into his stance. Runners will be taking off with the pitch. The set and the 3-2, swinging a low ground ball over to the shortstop, and Kreidler fields it on the run. Throw over to first, and a bang-bang play just in time to get Eric Rivera for out number 3. So the Harbor Hawks push across a couple of more runs, or one more, I should say, in the bottom of the 5th inning, but leave the bases loaded. 9-4 your score here in favor of the Wareham Gatemen. An opportunity squandered by Hyannis in the bottom of the 5th. We'll bring you back right after this. You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's Voices of the Hawks, Lyle Goldstein and Robert Marcello.
Top half of the sixth, just moments from getting underway. Zach Cohn back on the mound, the right-hander out of Central Michigan for the Harbor Hawks. He'll face the Gateman number 3 hitter in Austin Shenton, who swings at the first pitch and sends a high fly ball into short right center field. Coming on is Eric Rivera, off to his left, can't make the catch on a dive. And Austin Shenton chugging into second. He'll stop there after a slight turn to third. Shenton picks up his second hit of the night, the leadoff man aboard for the Gateman in the top of the sixth. And Austin Shenton just continuing to stay hot on this Cape League summer. Came into the at bat with a .412 average, and now picks up his second hit of this ball game. Now up to .423 on the summer.
Austin Shenton just unstoppable so far on the Cape League season, and one of the more laid-back players you'll see as well. So not allowing any pressure to get to him so much. Very talkative during practice and very loose as well. You can see, and it reflects how he plays in the field as well. Always with a smile on his face.
Cohn from the set, checking Shenton at second, and his first pitch to the left-handed hitter, and Bryant Packard is taken for a strike on a fastball right on the outside corner. Austin Shenton, you mentioned a laid-back ball player, but during the game, his head is down, and he is at full speed at all times, especially on the bases. He is one aggressive base runner, not afraid to get his jersey dirty either. Packard swings at the next pitch and sends a line drive foul down the left field line and into the Harbor Hawks bullpen. Looks like it almost took somebody out down there. Can't tell who it is as he's lying on the ground. It looks like it might be...
That is Wes Engel, it looks like. Wes Engel wearing the 27 jersey, just getting his hips stretched out.
I think that's Dylan Thomas out of Hawaii. Number
yes.
27, but...
My bad. Wes wears 25, yes.
Yeah, but Dylan Thomas not looking, his back toward the field, stretching out. It might come in later in the game. Had no clue that line drive was coming. As the 0-2 to the hitter in Packard is swung on and foul back behind the netting.
Well, as we've learned behind the scenes here on the Harbor Hawks Digital Network, you never really know what they're doing out in that bullpen. Sometimes they can be off in space.
They have some fun down there, to say the least. We'll leave it at that.
For their sake.
Alec Trello, the shortstop, giving Shenton a little bit of attention right behind him at second. Now back to his original spot. Cohn fires home with a fastball, misses away for ball one.
We know Gavin Hollowell has had plenty of fun trying to photobomb in many an edition of Hawk Talk coming out of the bullpen, not only to pitch for the Harbor Hawks and pump up the gas, but have a laugh as well.
Cohn gets into the set with a 1-2 count. The next pitch to Packard, swung on and fouled out of play again behind home plate and over the press box. Well, Packard's hitless today. 2 looking strikeouts and a fly out to center field. But the American Athletic Conference Player of the Year looking to turn his night around and drive in Austin Shenton from second base. Cohn gets his sign from Wilkie, fires home, swung on and fouled off his foot and dribbles along the right side again. So the hitter in Packard's fouled off a couple of pitches, making Zach Cohn work a little bit here in this at-bat. No outs in the top of the sixth. Gateman still lead 9-4. Packard, one of those players that really blossomed in his 2018 campaign after hitting .276 with just a home run in 2017, .406 with 14 long balls, 30 extra base hits, and an 1133 OPS in his junior season in 2018. As Cohn steps off the mound briefly, now back on, gets his sign from Wilkie, sets at the belt, fires home, hits the hitter in Packard right on the knee as he jogs down to first. 2 men on for the Gateman in the top of the sixth, nobody out, and Packard reaches for the first time tonight.
And Packard, as you mentioned, hot at East Carolina this year, continuing that with a .313 batting average on the Cape. And it's that kind of a performance on the Cape that will not only get him noticed going into his senior year, but also could really boost his draft stock, as he won't be coming back for an additional year at East Carolina. He doesn't have the option to, so definitely peaking at the right time.
Lyle Lockhart, the hitter, due up, but Chad Gassman out to the mound to make a pitching change. Zach Cohn's night is done as he'll hand the ball off to Michigan State right-hander Mike Machma, who will come in relief when we return shortly on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media.
Mike Machma, the Michigan State left-hander, set to come in relief for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, the 6'7", 235-pound man out of Michigan State, set to face the next hitter in Lyle Lockhart Jr., the first baseman out of Houston. His first pitch, taken for a strike, and the count's now 0-1.
Machma in 5 2/3 innings pitched on the summer, a 9.52 ERA, 5 strikeouts, but 4 walks.
He comes in with runners on first and second. Those guys are Zach Cohn's responsibility. As Lockhart swings and misses through an off-speed pitch for strike 2, dropped down to a knee and came up empty.
Machma off to a good start.
So Cohn went 2 2/3 innings, gave up 1 hit, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. But as we mentioned a minute ago, responsible for the 2 men on base. That's Austin Shenton at second and Brian Packard at first. The pitch to Lockhart, down and inside for ball 1. So Mike Machma, just 5 2/3 innings on the year, as Chris mentioned. Hasn't pitched in 10 days. His last appearance came at Spillane Field against the Wareham Gatemen. Lasted just 2/3 of an inning. Gave up 4 runs on 3 hits. He comes set, checks the runners. Swinging a ground ball through the left side, past the diving backhand Alec Trella for a base hit. Chenton rounding third, being waved home. He'll score standing up, and the Wareham Gatemen extend their lead back to 6. The score now 10-4 on an RBI single from Lyle Lockhart Jr., his first hit of the night, 4th time reaching base.
Yeah, Lyle Lockhart really just been very productive for the Gatemen, and there you see it again. Wareham taking advantage of its opportunities. That was something Coach Sneddon was frustrated about last night, that Wareham not only surrendered plenty of opportunities to the Harbor Hawks, but also were unable to pick up on their own opportunities. And tonight, completely flipping the script. Hyannis able to capitalize on what few they've gotten, but Wareham really opening this thing up.
His first pitch to Paven Parks misses outside for ball 1. Still nobody out in the top of the 6th. The entire Harbor Hawks infield playing back. First baseman Brady Lindsley behind the runner and Lyle Lockhart. Mike Machma looking to induce a double play and get something on the ground. As his next fastball is a called strike right at the top of the zone to the hitter in Parks as the count moves to 1-1. So Paven Parks, 1 for 3 day, has reached twice, once on a single, the other on an error by Braden Como. Now Machma's delivery, off speed, swung on and missed for strike 2. Paven Parks came into the day 1 for 5. He's now 2 for 7 on the summer, scoring a .250 batting average. Also produced his first RBI today. That came in the 9-run third inning from the Wareham Gatemen. Time's called. Machma steps off the mound, brings his hand to the brim of his cap. Now back on into the set. Plays called by the home plate umpire in Henry. The 1-2 pitch from Machma. Fastball misses up and in as the count even at 2-2. Sun is just about set here in Hyannis. Lights starting to shine bright at McKeon Park as Mike Machma sets right at the letters. Checking the runner at second. 2-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball foul down the right field line. So Hyannis still has an additional hit in total on the Gatemen tonight. They have 9 compared to Wareham's 8. But 3 errors on Hyannis compared to Wareham's 1 has been what's part of the factor in the 6-run lead for the Gatemen. 2 of those errors coming in the third inning, both from Alec Trella, who's giving some attention to the runner at second, and Brian Packard. Creeping toward him, but Machma fires home anyway. The 2-2 misses outside as the count's now full.
Well, Lyle, to your point there, of 10 runs on the board for the Gatemen today, by point streaks count, only 4 of them are earned.
Been a tough day both on the mound and in the field for Hyannis, to say the least. They had a rally going in the bottom of the 5th, but Eric Rivera grounded out with the bases loaded after the Harbor Hawks played an additional run. As Machma comes home with a 3-2, swinging a high fly ball into left center field. Eric Rivera moving over to his right, settles under it to make the catch. 2 outs here for the Gatemen in the top of the 6th. Runners retreat back to the bags.
Another important out right there for the Harbor Hawks. You sound like a broken record saying almost every out is an important one, but in a game that drags on like this and you have to use multiple outs from the bullpen, you need these guys to be as efficient as possible, especially as Hyannis has to travel out to White House Field tomorrow to take on the Harwich Mariners, who are no slouch.
And in a game like this, we're only in the top of the 6th, as there's actually 1 down. But at least another arm or 2 will be used for Hyannis tonight, as Ryan Kreidler swings at the first pitch and squiggles it foul behind him and a little bit up the third baseline. Retrieved by the ball girl for Hyannis. Kreidler on the day. Yet to record a hit, has reached base twice on a fielder's choice and an E6. Slide out to right in his last at bat. He sets his bat on his right shoulder. The pitch from Machma misses down for ball 1. Well, Ryan Kreidler, 3 RBIs to his name on the year, all of them coming in 1 at bat, and that was against these Harbor Hawks back at Spillane Field the first time these 2 teams squared off on an RBI 3-run double. Runner takes off. Machma steps off the mound in time. The throw to Wenzel, way in time to get the runner in Packard as time is called. The field umpire and Dave Perry signaling that Packard's granted third, and now moving down to second will be the runner in Lockhart, as they may have called a balk on Machma, as there's now 2 runners in scoring position. I think that was the call.
Yes, that was the call. Looks like a balk called on Machma there as he came to the set, and I guess they just maybe thought that he started his motion to the plate when he stepped off. Everyone seems a little bit confused. Machma as well, as he's trying to talk it out with third base umpire in Dave Perry and see what exactly he did wrong.
My guess is he didn't come into a full set, because he stepped off the mound pretty quickly after coming into the set, because he got a little rattled by the runner taking off. As the count's now 1-1, the pitch to Kreidler, swinging a line drive into the left center field gap for a base hit. Scoring is the runner in Packard. Lyle Lockhart right behind him, scoring, standing up. Sliding into second is Ryan Kreidler with a 1-out RBI double to plate 2 runs and make the lead 12-4 Gatemen. So the balk comes back to haunt Mike Machma as Ryan Kreidler now has 5 RBIs on the season, all against the Harbor Hawks, and even more to that point, all against Mike Machma. That 3 RBI double he had back at Spillane Field was against the Michigan State right-hander.
And now Machma has to regroup his team down 8 runs in their own ballpark, trying to fight back against the Wareham Gatemen, who hold the top spot in the West.
The first pitch to the hitter in Roskam, grounded on a hop to the first baseman Brady Lindsley, keeps it off the chest, tosses it to Machma covering the bag for out number 2. Ryan Kreidler advances to third, and Mike Machma records his second out of the inning. He'll face the number 9 hitter in Isaac Collins, the right fielder out of Creighton University, as the Gatemen looking to extend on their 8-run lead with Kreidler just 90 feet away from scoring. Machma still working from the set. The first pitch to the hitter in Collins, taken for a strike on the outside corner. The 3 runs have come across this inning for Wareham. A Lyle Lockhart single and a Ryan Kreidler double have been the cause. Swinging a ground ball over to the second baseman, Braden Como moves a step or two to his left, fields it cleanly, and throws to Lindsley for out number 3. But Wareham puts some damage on the board once again here in the top of the 6th. A trio of runs makes it 12-4 in favor of the Gatemen. We'll be back right after this here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
Harbor Hawks send their top of the lineup to face Jared Horn in his second inning of work as Hyannis trails 12-4 in the bottom of the 6th. Davis Wenzel, Braden Como, and Matthew Barefoot due up to start the bottom of the 6th inning. As the Baylor shortstop digs in, the first pitch from Horn is a breaking ball for a called strike. First pitch, curve ball from Jared Horn, the right-hander out of Cal. 0-1 to Davis Wenzel, who's at a 0-for-3 day. A pop out, a fly out, and a ground out. The next pitch from Horn is a fastball right at the knees for strike 2. Well, Davis Wenzel hitting .220 on the summer, but 11 walks to his name. Swings at a breaking ball and sends a 2-hopper to the third baseman in Parks. Fields it off his chest. The throw to first is not in time as Wenzel beats it out. And the leadoff man is aboard for Hyannis in the bottom of the 6th. Davis Wenzel reaching base for the first time tonight.
Breaking that 0-for-3 spell right there, and been kind of middling at .234 with his average. So he's credited with a base hit by the official score. And a big boost for Davis Wenzel. He sets the table for Braden Como.
Como has 1 hit in 3 attempts. His average sits at .327 on the summer. Horn from the set. The right-hander delivers to Como, swings at the first pitch and chops it foul behind him. And it gets about halfway to the backstop before it just stops in its tracks. DeComo, in his season at Rice University, hit 319, 36 RBIs, 76 hits. Horn throws over to the bag, but back safely is Davis Wenzel on a dive to the backside of the first base bag. Davis gets about a 3-step lead at first. Como wiggling his bat just to the right of his head and above his shoulder. Takes a pitch down low for ball 1. Como's got 4 RBIs on the year compared to the 36 he had at Rice. It was only his first season down in Houston, Texas, as the previous year he played at LSU Hyannis Junior College. As Horn attempts to pick off again, but Wenzel's back in time. At LSU Hyannis, he hit 377, 4 home runs, 49 RBIs, 30 stolen bases. We haven't seen Como steal a ton of bags this summer, but he's got some speed in his repertoire. The 1-1 from Horn, swinging a line drive just foul down the right field line and past the diving backhand of Lyle Lockhart Jr.
He was a doubles machine for the Rice Owls this year. Como had 14 two-baggers for Rice this past season and only has 1 in 14 games, 46 at-bats so far.
And back to the stolen bases, Como has just 1 this summer. That could be subject to change as the season progresses, as time is called, and the catcher and Luke Roskam out to the mound to have a word with his pitcher.
Well, it's something that Chad Gassman certainly wants to change. Hyannis with 11 stolen bases on the season so far, not really up to snuff for a coach. He really wants his team to start being a bit more aggressive and putting pressure on pitchers and putting their teammates in better situations at the plate by advancing on the base paths.
Matthew Barefoot leads the team with 3. Well, of course he does. He does it all. He's leading the team with a 386 average, also with 3 homers. But Como with the stolen bag of his own. Todd Lott has 2. Kyle Wilkie has 2. Just to name a couple. As the count sits at 1-2 to Braden Como, with Wenzel getting a lead at first. The 1-2 pitch from Jared Horn. Breaking ball, swung on and missed for strike 3. Braden Como punches out for the second time tonight, and Jared Horn records the first down in the bottom of the 6th.
And you mentioned Matt Barefoot, who comes to the plate right now. That's a guy that came to the Cape with something to prove. Went undrafted despite hitting above 350 for Campbell University this year. And he's just been on a tear all season long, as it looks like a pinch hitter will actually come in Barefoot's stead right now. That's Taylor Garris out of Sanford.
Barefoot was the hitter due up, but Chad Gassman starting to make a couple of changes in the lineup. Colin Hall took over in right field last inning. He now awaits on deck, replacing Trevor Hoover as the Georgia Tech left-handed hitter. Swinging that bat with the donut on top. Right in the green circle in the batter's box for Hyannis. But the hitter in Taylor Garris looks at the first pitch from the right-hander at Horn, down and away for ball 1. Taylor Garris hitting .231 on the summer. He's got 3 hits and 13 tries. Swings at the next pitch and sends it foul off the netting behind home plate. Night's starting to get fairly cool here at McKeon Park. Was up in the mid-80s earlier. Got as high as about 84 degrees today. As Taylor Garris sits with a 1-1 count. Wenzel still on first. 12-4, Gateman the score. Off speed, taken for strike 2 from Horn. That's something I was talking to Taylor about earlier today. He definitely noticed the hot weather, as have most of these players. And he said he gets a hot rain down at Sanford University, especially in the summer, at about 4 o'clock every day. It'll just downpour with a warm rain. As Horn throws over, back to the bag in time is Davis Wenzel. But Garris said it can make his summer workouts a little bit of a struggle, to say the least. Definitely not the friendliest of conditions. But the conditions becoming a little more friendly here. As Garris swings at a 1-2 pitch and cuts right through it for strike 3. In his first at bat, he strikes out looking. Second strikeout of the inning for Jared Horn. Back-to-back strikeouts recorded. He's got 2 outs for Colin Hall stepping to the plate.
Hall only batting $130 right now for Hyannis, just trying to find that stroke as well. the Alpharetta, Georgia native, becoming somewhat of a specialist pinch hitting for Hyannis. His first hit of the season actually came on a pinch hitting appearance, and he drove in a run.
Hall 3 for 23 and 2 RBIs. He's digging into the left-handed side of the box. Swings at the first pitch and skies it foul over the third base dugout and well out of play. So he takes over for Trevor Hauver, who ends his night with an 0 for 2 day. Hauver walked in the fifth, was stranded at third. Also struck out in the first and grounded into a 3-6 double play in the third. Now the 0-1 pitch to Hall. Misses upstairs for ball one. While Colin Hall hitting just 130 on the summer. However, at Georgia, he hit 283, 2 homers and 24 RBIs. Horn from the set. The right-hander delivers, misses high again. 2-1 the count to the Georgia Tech outfielder. But it's interesting. I mentioned the 2 home runs. Colin Hall isn't a guy who's displayed a ton of power so far in this summer. But today in batting practice, of course, the hot weather could have had some of what to do with it. But Colin Hall was putting some tanks out over the right center field wall. So he takes a 2-1 fastball high for ball 3. But Colin Hall may be a little bit of a sneaky power in his arsenal. Of course, just a freshman. So he's got some time to develop that power. But they weren't cheap ones either. He was putting them high into the air and on the drive, too. Swings at the 3-1 pitch and sends a low line drive into the gap in left center field for a base hit, falling in front of the left fielder in Packard, coming off to his left to field it. Throws it back in. Davis Wenzel advances to second, and Hyannis has 2 runners on with 2 out for the catcher in Kyle Wilkie.
Well, if Hall really wants to start displaying a bit of that power, he's going to have to start swinging a bit earlier at pitches because he stands in the left-handed batter's box, and shortest part of McKeon Park is over 330 feet right field way, but also just a very nice piece from Colin Hall, getting his hands around a ball and sending it out to the gap the other way.
A little bit of an inside-out swing from Colin. Looked like he got jammed a little bit, but still punched it out to left center field. As the right-hander in Jared Horn's first pitch to Kyle Wilkie, it's a breaking ball taken right at the letters for strike 1. Wilkie's got 1 hit today. Also grounded into a fielder's choice and struck out looking. But he's got an RBI opportunity at hand. Wenzel at second. Hall at first. 12-4 Gateman. Swings and misses through a fastball for strike 2, and the Clemson catcher quickly behind in the count. Infield playing back with 2 outs. Right fielder in Collins shifted way off the line and out toward right center. Jared Horn, the 0-2 pitch, swinging a line drive foul out of play down the right side from Wilkie. So Kyle's got 7 total hits on the summer. Currently sporting a .292 average. That bat set on his right shoulder, swings and misses through a breaking ball from Jared Horn for strike 3. The Cal right-hander strikes out the side for the Harbor Hawks in the bottom of the 6th. Hyannis strands 2 on base and still trail by a score of 12-4 through 6 frames. We'll be back right after this for the 7th on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
Welcome back here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. I'm Rob Martell giving you a around the league update. A final in YD. They win against Catuit 4-1. Also, final that ends in a time, 10 innings between Orleans and Brewster. In the top of the 7th, in Bourne, they're currently up 6-5. We're here in Hyannis currently losing 12-4. In Harwich is currently tied with Chatham in the top of the 6th. We're going to go back to break here, but then we'll send it back to Lyle Goldstein here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright.
Mike Mockma back out for his second inning in relief for the Harbor Hawks as we bring you back in the top half of the seventh inning. Wareham Gatemen lead by a score of 12-4, and they send their top of the lineup up against the Michigan State right-hander in Jeremy Idens, Saheed Valenzuela, and Austin Shenton. The right-handed hitter in Idens out of UCLA digs in, wiggling that bat well above his right shoulder as he swings at the first pitch and sends it foul up and out of play behind home plate. Jordan Fowler got the start tonight for the Harbor Hawks, lasted 2 1/3 innings. He threw a first pitch strike to start the game to Jeremy Idens, and that was already a much better start than the Harbor Hawks got off to against the UCLA outfielder in the last game, as Idens sends a high pop up on the right side, right near foul ground, going back as Brady Lindsley settles under it to make the catch right on the lip of the outfield grass, and Idens is retired for out number 1 in the seventh. But quickly, as I was saying, Idens on the first pitch of the bottom of the first inning yesterday at Spillane Field took a fastball from Travis Marr and absolutely destroyed it well beyond the fence in left center field, as that was the first run the Gatemen produced in last night's game. But they've kept Idens a little bit more in check tonight. He has a 1-for-4 day so far to his name, along with a walk. Also scored 1 run. As it looks like we're going to get a pinch hitter for Saheed Valenzuela. And it'll be Oliver Dunn, the Utah second baseman. Dunn 3 for 29 on the summer. One of those hits being a home run, also drove in 2 runs. Mockma's first pitch sails high and over the glove of Kyle Wilkie for ball 1. One defensive change for the Harbor Hawks this inning. Tommy Jew, the UCSB outfielder, takes over in center field for Eric Rivera. Rivera ends his night with a 1-for-2 day, along with a walk and a stolen base. Mockma from the set. Deals to the hitter in Dunn, misses away with an off-speed pitch. 2-0. So Oliver Dunn didn't play in yesterday's game against the Harbor Hawks, as Mockma delivers a fastball just away. Dunn way ahead in the count at 3-0. Oliver Dunn in his sophomore year at Utah hit .319, 4 home runs, 17 extra base hits, 31 runs batted in. Fastball misses low for ball 4 in the dirt from Mike Mockma, as Oliver Dunn draws a 4-pitch walk with 1 out in the top of the 7th, jogs down to first as he's on for the number 3 hitter in Austin Shenton. Shenton, the hottest hitter on the Cape so far this summer. He comes into this at bat with 2 hits and 4 tries, .423 average. And this is coming from a kid who just a year ago was playing ball at community college. Mockma continuing to work from the set. Glove right at the chest level. First pitch into Shenton, misses just away for ball 1. Austin Shenton in the designated hitter spot tonight, as the FIU infielder spends a lot of his time at third base, getting a night off from the field. Takes a ball low and inside for ball 2. So Mockma, 6 straight balls to the last 2 hitters. Struggling to find the strike zone here with 1 out in the 7th. Gatemen lead 12-4. Hyannis has 11 hits to Wareham's 9. Machma's 2-0 to Shenton. Swung on and grounded foul down the right side. So Oliver Dunn, the pinch hitter out of Utah, idles at first, being held on by Brady Lindsley. Mike Machma's looking to put up a clean 7th inning. Davis Wenzel, of course, playing back behind the bag to the number 3 hitter in Shenton. Middle infielders at their normal spots. As Shenton sends a high fly ball into deep left center field. Going back is Todd Lott right at the warning track and makes the catch on the run for out number 2. Retreating all the way back to first base from second is the runner in Dunn. And a big out for Mike Machma, retiring Austin Shenton. And it'll bring up the cleanup hitter in Bryant Packard. Packard still hitless tonight, although he has a run scored after being hit by a pitch in his last at-bat in the 6th. Machma so far tonight has yet to punch anybody out. Issued 1 walk in an inning and 2/3 as the runner takes off on a hit and run, a swing and a high drive into deep right center field, and forget about it. This one is a mammoth home run from Bryant Packard into the trees in right center field, well beyond the confines of McKeon Park. And the Wareham Gatemen now lead 14-4 with a 10-run lead in the top of the 7th. Oh my, Brian Packard got all of that one. Out beyond the flag in right center field here at McKeon Park. Mike Machma leaving a pitch out over the middle of the plate, and Packard didn't miss that one. That's his first hit tonight. 3rd home run of the season, and now his RBI total up to 9. Lyle Lockhart steps in, the Houston first baseman, I should say, as Machma spikes one in the dirt for ball 1. The Utah infielder Oliver Dunn was the runner who scored on the home run from Packard. But Mike Machma, after struggling to find the zone, maybe finding a little bit too much, as Todd Lott had to catch one on the warning track. And then the home run from Packard as Lockhart swings and drives a line drive into center field, falling in front of Tommy Jew for a base hit. Back-to-back hits for the Wareham Gatemen with 2 outs in the 7th. And on at first base is Lyle Lockhart. He's reached in every at-bat so far tonight. Walked twice in his first 2 at-bats, was hit by a pitch in the 4th, and now has recorded back-to-back singles in his last 2 plate appearances. One man aboard for Wareham as Paven Parks steps in, the left-handed hitter out of Kent State, playing third base tonight. Machma continuing to work from the set. The pitch, swinging a high pop-up into short right center field. Coming over to his left is Tommy Jew. Settles under it and makes the catch for out number 3. The inning is over here in the top of the 7th, but not before the Gatemen plate an additional pair of runs on an absolutely smoked 2-run home run from the East Carolina left fielder in Bryant Packard. We'll be back right after this for the bottom half of the 7th. 14-4 your score in favor of the Gatemen on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
Jared Horn back on the mound for the Wareham Gatemen for inning number 3 of his night. He's set to face the 6, 7, 8 of the Harbor Hawks order, beginning with Oklahoma first baseman Brady Lindsley. Lindsley looking to cut away at a 14-4 lead in favor of the Wareham Gatemen. Horn working from the windup. Wheels and fires the first pitch. Swinging a line drive up the middle, past the diving Kreidler and into center field for a base hit. Brady Lindsley on it first with his first base hit of the night. And it'll bring up Todd Lott to the plate, who's already 3 for 3, along with a solo shot and 2 RBI singles. Oliver Dunn, the Utah infielder who pinch hit last inning, now moves out on defense, takes Zahid Valenzuela's spot at second base. And Horn set to face Lott for the second time around. The first pitch, swinging a weak ground ball out to the second baseman, Dunn. Looks over to second, but just throws over to first to retire Todd Lott. Lindsley moves down 90 feet. And there's one out in the bottom of the 7th inning as the Louisiana Lafayette right-handed hitter in Lott makes out for the first time this evening. Alex Trella steps in. He's had a multi-hit game today with 2 singles. Idling off of second is Brady Lindsley. Dunn retreating back to his usual spot as a breaking ball misses inside to Trella for ball 1. Playing up the middle a little bit at second is Oliver Dunn again, giving Lindsley some attention as Trella swings and sends a chopper on one hop to the third baseman in park. Fields it cleanly, throws across in time for out number 2. And Trella sat down, bringing up a new man for the Harbor Hawks, Tommy Jew, the UCSB center fielder, who came in as a defensive replacement for Eric Rivera, making his first plate appearance in the number 9 spot. The Jared Horns recorded back-to-back groundouts. With Tommy Jew in an RBI situation. Lindsley on second. Gatemen still lead by a whopping 10 runs. The right-hander in Horn works from the set. Comes home to Jew, misses low and away for ball 1. Tommy Jew hitting .250 on the summer, 4 for his first 16. Looking to pick up hit number 5 on his young campaign as he watches one miss away. Ahead in the count at 2-0. Davis Wenzel looms on deck. If the Harbor Hawks can get it to him and Jew can extend the inning. Watches a 2-0 fastball catch the outside corner for strike 1. Some action in both bullpens. Two men getting loose for the Gatemen down the right field line. And a right-hander in the pen for the Harbor Hawks down the left field line. As Jew watches a pitch hit the inside corner as the count now moves to 2-2. Tommy Jew coming off a very solid year at UC Santa Barbara for the Gauchos, hitting .312. 68 hits, 18 for extra bases. Wheeling that bat fiercely behind his right shoulder. Now the 2-2. Breaking ball misses in the dirt and away as the count moves to full. The Wareham Gatemen currently 7 outs away from keeping their spot atop the Western Division. Hyannis just a point back, but trail 14-4. 3-2 to Jew, swinging a ground ball foul down the third base line. Hyannis and Wareham have been in a tight race for that top spot in the Western Division here in the early going of the summer. Bourne sits at third place, 5 points back, Cotuit 6 points back, and Falmouth 8 points back. Wareham currently sits with 22 points on the summer. 3-2 offering to Jew, misses upstairs for ball 4. And Tommy Jew's on at first. records a 2-out walk to put runners on first and second as Davis Wenzel steps up to the plate, the leadoff hitter for the Harbor Hawks. Looking to drive in a run or two. So Tommy Jew aboard at first via the free pass, and Davis Wenzel has been no stranger to the walk this season. Walked 11 times so far as he swings at the first pitch and sends a line drive foul down the right field line. Wenzel hitting .235 on the summer. Although those 11 walks have severely boosted his on-base percentage. Infield playing back with 2 outs. Lyle Lockhart well behind Tommy Jew at first. The pitch from Horn, a fastball outside. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Baylor infielder. Playing third base tonight, but when Seth Gray plays the field, you'll see Wenzel at short. Gray getting a night off tonight. As a breaking ball to Wenzel misses low and away. 2-1 the count. Seth Gray went hitless in last night's game against the Gatemen. 0 for 3 with a pair of walks. Has cooled off a little bit in this young summer. But Wenzel playing third in his spot tonight and takes another breaking ball, this time for a strike right on the outside corner. Man continuing to warm in the Harbor Hawks bullpen. Mike Mockma's already thrown 2 innings. And the Harbor Hawks have 2 men on. 2-2 to Wenzel, swinging a foul behind home plate and off the netting. Mockma gave up 2 runs in the 7th inning, coming on that towering 2-run home run off the bat of Bryant Packard. 3 earned runs to Mockma's name in his start, or should we say his relief appearance. 2-2 to Wenzel, swing and a 1-hopper over to the second baseman, and Dunn moving off to his left, makes the play cleanly and throws over to first in time for the 3rd out. So Jared Horn works himself into and out of trouble in the bottom half of the 7th inning, and another 0 up on the board for Hyannis. They trail 14-4 through 7 frames, and we'll be back for the top of the 8th right after this on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
Mike Mockma back on the mound for inning number 3, set to face the bottom third of the Gateman order in Ryan Kreidler, Luke Roscom, and Isaac Collins. 14-4 Gateman the score as we start the 8th inning. As Kreidler, who in his last at-bat punched a 2 RBI double into the gap, stands in against Mockma, takes a first pitch breaking ball low and away. That's the only hit Kreidler's recorded so far tonight, although he's reached base 2 other times on a fielder's choice and an E6, which he later scored on. Swings and sends a high pop-up right up the elevator shaft. Kyle Wilkie has a beat on it, going back behind him and makes the catch for out number 1. A nice job by Wilkie to quickly throw off the mask and fight the lighting to make a nice catch for the first out.
Wilkie hasn't had the easiest go of it today, so it's a good vote of confidence for the Harbor Hawks to see that he still has his head in the game. I mean, to be behind the plate to watch 14 runners come across has not been easy for him, but he's stayed focused and still has his head in a good place.
Machma's first pitch to Luke Roscom misses down in the dirt on a breaking ball. But that's very underratedly one of the toughest plays in baseball, for a catcher to have to throw off the mask and make a catch on a pop-up right up above him. As Machma misses away with a fastball for ball 2, but Kyle Wilkie with a perfect beat on it.
And it's all the more difficult considering it's late at night and the lights at McKeon Park aren't necessarily all that high, so very easy to lose fly balls in the floodlights.
Roscom calls time, quickly steps out of the box, moves both his feet out, now back in. Sporting that high batting stance, his bat all the way above his head and his left shoulder. Machma's 2-0 fastball misses upstairs for ball 3. So Machma hasn't had the easiest go of it tonight. Allowed 3 runs so far. 2 of them coming on the long Bryant Packard home run. Misses downstairs for ball 4. Luke Roscom draws a 4-pitch walk. And the first man for the Gatemen is aboard with 1 out in the top of the 8th. That's Roscom's second time reaching base tonight. He's 1 for 4 with a walk now. And Isaac Collins steps in for his 4th plate appearance, or make it his 5th. 4th at bat, as he walked once in one of his 2 at bats in the 3rd inning, and he later scored. Machma's first pitch is a fastball missing down and in. In fact, in that 3rd inning where the Gatemen put up 9 runs on the Harbor Hawks, Isaac Collins scored twice. He doubled in his first at bat and later scored, and then walked later in the inning and would score on that on a wild pitch. Machma comes to the set, Roscom with a short lead. The pitch in, a swing and a ground ball foul down the right side.
That 3rd inning, a very zany one for the Harbor Hawks, one that pretty much everyone would like to forget at this point, but really can't because those 9 runs looming large and a 14-4 deficit for Hyannis.
Wareham scored 9 in the 3rd, 3 in the 6th, and 2 in the 7th.
Ooh.
Collins sends a line drive off the leg of Mike Machma and into foul ground. He'll beat it out for a base hit. Trotting down to second is Luke Roscom. And that didn't sound good from up here in the press box. Mike Machma walking it off, and he seems to be okay, maybe a little bit gingerly. But Isaac Collins hitting that right on the screws.
I mean, I couldn't help myself but give a little exclamation on that because that came right off the inside part of Machma's ankle. But it seems as though he's okay. He's just walking it off, having a conversation with Kyle Wilkie just in front of the pitcher's mound now.
So that'll be recorded a hit to Collins, his 2nd of the night. Machma and Wilkie continuing to converse. They now conclude as Machma walks back to the mound, takes a little bit of a circle, but now making his way back to the rubber. As there's a pinch hitter on hand for the Wareham Gatemen, and it looks like it's the center fielder in Skylar Hunter. Purdue product making his first plate appearance of the night. He comes in for Jeremy Idens and takes a first pitch ball. And I don't think any Harbor Hawks players or fans are complaining too much about that. Jeremy Idens has absolutely torched the Harbor Hawks in these last 2 games, specifically yesterday, as Skylar Hunter sends a long fly ball down the left field line, landing in fair ground, and that'll be extra bases. Cruising home is Roscom, moving down to 3rd is Collins, and Skylar Hunter stands up at second base with a 1-out double, as the lead is now 15-5, as I don't think Todd Lott thought that ball was going to stay in fair territory, giving a little bit of a jog out to it, but it landed right on the line for an RBI double for the Purdue outfielder in Hunter.
Just a lazy ball that hung up there and stayed fair almost miraculously. Like you said, Lyle, really just catching chalk out there and staying fair by inches.
Oliver Dunn steps in, takes a ball in the dirt. Mike Machma has an out and 2 men in scoring position. He came in during the middle of the 6th inning for Zach Cohn, or the middle of the 5th inning, we should say, and has really struggled to retire these Gateman hitters as he counters with a curveball that drops into the zone for strike 1. Gateman now lead by 11, 13 hits, as Machma's ready with the 1-1 pitch, swinging a high fly ball into very short right center field. Como going back on it, being called off by Tommy Juke coming in. Makes the catch for out number 2. Runner staying put. Collins gave about a step toward home, but now walks back to the bag at third.
43rd pitch of the evening there for Machma, getting a big out after that run comes across and makes this now an 11-run game. And Machma being able to be somewhat efficient despite giving up a good deal of runs, keeping his pitch count around the mid-40s as it is right now, just eating up innings for Hyannis, which is really what they need.
And his first pitch to Austin Shenton, a breaking ball, drops right at the knees for strike 1. The Machma, after getting Ryan Kreidler to pop out to Kyle Wilkie right behind home plate, allowed 3 straight base runners and an RBI double to Skylar Hunter, and then got Oliver Dunn to fly out to center to recap the inning as he misses in the dirt with a ball to Austin Shenton as the count moves to 1-1. Shenton plays his college ball at Florida International University, a teammate of Nick McDonald, a right-handed starter for the Harbor Hawks, as Shenton sends a weak ground ball. Mike Machma fields it coming off the mound and off to his left, fields it cleanly and underhands it to first for out number 3. So gets himself out of a mini jam as 2 runners were stranded for the Gateman hitters, but not before Wareham plates an additional run to make it 15-4. Bottom half of the 8th coming up, and a new pitcher on hand for the Gatemen when we come back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
You're listening to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network. Now back to today's voices of the Hawks, Chris Lucy and Lyle Goldstein.
New Gateman reliever on hand to start the bottom of the 8th is UCLA right-hander Jack Ralston. Jared Horn's day is done for the Gateman after the Cal right-hander threw 3 innings, a 1-run ball on 5 hits, and struck out 4. Ralston will face Braden Como to lead off the 8th as he swings at the first pitch and sends a line drive through the gap and into center field for a base hit. Como reaches on the first pitch of the bottom of the 8th, records his second hit of the day, and it'll bring up Taylor Garris for his second plate appearance.
Next batter, designated hitter number 10, Taylor Harris from Sanford.
Ralston now from the set. The first pitch to Taylor Garris, swings at and sends a high fly ball into short right center field. Coming on is the center fielder in Hunter to make the catch for out number 1. Skylar Hunter taking over in center field for Jeremy Idens after that pinch hit, and now doing the defensive replacement as well. Colin Hall steps in, left-handed hitter out of Georgia Tech. Came in to hit for Trevor Hoover and singled in that first at bat. Produced his 4th hit of the summer. He's got Como on at first with 1 out. Ralston's first pitch, swinging a ground ball right to the second baseman and done. Throws on to short for 1, relay to first and in, not in time, as Colin Hall and his speed avoids the double play. So it'll be recorded a 4-6 fielder's choice as the second baseman in Oliver Dunn went quickly to Ryan Kreidler over at short, covering the bag for the second out. But Hall's on at first, bringing up the Clemson catcher in Kyle Wilkie, who is now just trotting out to the batter's box. Of course, Wilkie and all the catcher's gear he wears. Takes a little bit to take it off to end the inning, and with both Garris, Como, and Hall swinging at pitches early in the count, didn't give Wilkie a whole ton of time. But he's into the right-handed side of the box now. Struck out his last 2 at-bats. It'll be his first time seeing Ralston. Right-hander's first pitch. Off the glove of the catcher in Roscom, gets to the backstop, and Colin Hall trots down to second base. That'll likely be recorded a pass ball. Harbor Hawks have a man in scoring position with 2 outs. Night fairly quiet here at McKeon Park. Most of the crowd has headed for the exits as Ralston delivers to Wilkie. Swinging a ground ball fielded by the second baseman in Dunn on a couple of hops on the right side. Makes a clean throw to first in time for out number 3. So a single from Braden Como is all the Harbor Hawks could muster as a 0 goes up on the board in the bottom of the 8th. We'll be back shortly for the 9th here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright. Works Media copyright.
We bring you back inside McKeon Park for the top half of the 9th inning. And if you hear Enter Sandman playing here on the broadcast, no, it is not Mariano Rivera entering the game. It's Rice infielder Braden Como for his second inning on the mound this season. It'll also be his second inning against the Gatemen. The first hitter he's set to face is the cleanup hitter in Bryant Packard, who takes a ball down in the dirt. So Como in his one inning of relief this season. It was at Spillane Field where he recorded a 1-2-3 outing as he misses down with an off-speed pitch, now 2-0.
He struck a batter out as well in that inning.
And that was Cade Cavalli, who's normally a pitcher for this Gateman Ball Club, but was getting in a bat against Como, who was the pitcher. He now misses down and in to the hitter in Bryant Packard. 3-0 the count. Como working quickly from the windup. The 3-0, a get-me-over fastball right down central for strike one. Bryant Packard hit that long, towering two-run shot out to right center field in his last at-bat. Como now counters with the 3-1. Misses upstairs for ball 4. Bryant Packard is aboard with a leadoff walk, and that's the first hitter this season that Braden Como has allowed to reach base. Of course, it's only his fourth hitter faced, but regardless, had a pretty good outing in that last time out. But not off to the hottest of starts again here. Go ahead, Chris.
No, and Braden Como would be the first to tell you about that first outing he had. He said he felt like a kid in a candy store after recording a clean sheet against the Wareham Gatemen.
First pitch misses away to the number 5 hitter, and Lyle Lockhart, as we actually looks like have a pinch hitter on hand for the Gatemen.
That is Gian Martellini out of Boston College, who's stepped up to the plate.
The Martellini takes over in Lyle Lockhart's spot in the order, but moved behind the plate as Como misses away again, now 2-0. If you remember that last time Braden Como was on the mound, the entire bullpen was on their feet, and they went absolutely bonkers when Como struck out Cavalli. Swing and a miss from the hitter in Martellini for strike one. Cuts through one right at the letters from Como.
Gian Martellini is a 2-year Cape veteran, batted .195 for the Kettleers last summer.
Swings and misses through another pitch from Como. Now the count even at 2-2. But Martellini, this season at Boston College, hit .230, 2 home runs, 19 total hits. The 2-2 from Como. Misses inside as the count now runs full. Braden Como looking for his first out of the top of the 9th. Packard on it first. The 3-2 swing and a miss for strike 3. Braden Como gets him with an off-speed pitch and records his second strikeout of this summer on the mound.
And that's against a real position player as well, not a pitcher masquerading as a hitter. Gian Martellini was the 2014 and 2015 Rhode Island Gatorade Player of the Year, led the Eagles of Boston College in hits, average, and home runs as a sophomore, but flails and misses right there.
He now comes to the set. The first offering is a ball to Paven Parks, the Kent State third baseman. This is high and inside. So Como on the mound as the Harbor Hawks have another game tomorrow night. That's out at White House Field against the Harwich Mariners at 5:30. Chad Gassman's trying to save arms as Como misses inside for ball 2. He's got a runner on with 1 out. Wareham still leads by a score of 15-4. Como comes home, misses inside again for ball 3.
Trying to stay away from the zone and just decrease the chance that he has any contact made against him.
Looking at record an out here to the hitter in Paven Parks, who swings and sends it foul down the right field line. Count moves to full at 3-2. And Como trying to put up a clean frame here on the Gateman to prevent any further damage.
And more than that, he's doing Hyannis a major solid by getting out there on the mound and just saving another pitcher from wasting an inning.
The 3-2, swinging a ground ball foul down the right field line again. A couple of defensive changes this inning for the Harbor Hawks. Seth Gray moves in over to third base as Davis Wenzel shifts over to short. Alec Trella over at second. These changes, of course, being made because Como started the game at second base, but came in to pitch here in the top of the ninth. Three and two count to the hitter in Parks. Payoff pitch, swinging a fly ball foul, hooking down the right field line and hits off the light pole, we should say. So the hitter in Parks fouling off a couple of pitches from Como. Definitely seeing some soft stuff, to say the least. Como likes to mix in some of his breaking stuff, but his fastball not incredibly firm. The 3-2 pitch, swinging a high fly ball into deep right field. Colin Hall turning, nothing but a spectator, and that is gone. A 2-run home run for Paven Parks as the Gatemen extend their lead to 17-4. And Braden Como just flashing a little bit of a smile toward the Harbor Hawks dugout and shakes it off no problem.
Well, that was what he was afraid of in his last outing. He gave up an F8 that was a loud F8, to say the least, and thought that was going to be gone, as he mentioned to our field reporter, Danny Terzer. But that one, a no doubter over Colin Hall. He took 2 steps off the sound of contact and then just was watching that one sail over the right field fence. One of 2 bombs hit out to right field by the Wareham Gatemen today.
Ryan Kreidler, the hitter, it'll be his first time tonight seeing Como. As Braden, now from the windup, comes home, misses downstairs for ball 1. So Kreidler with 5 RBIs this season, all of them coming against the Harbor Hawks and Mike Machma. Como misses down again for ball 2. 2-0 the count. Como, before that first outing against the Gatemen, just under 2 weeks ago at Spillane Field, hadn't pitched in just about 6 years. Misses downstairs again for ball 3. But he told Chad Gassman, hey, I'll go out there and throw. We need to save arms. I can do it. I can throw strikes. And he got a 1-2-3 inning out of it. 3-0 count here to the hitter in Kreidler. Misses downstairs for ball 4, and Ryan draws a 1-out walk. It'll be his 4th time tonight reaching base. 2nd time cleanly, as he recorded a 2 RBI double in the 6th inning. And now on in the 9th.
Yeah, it looks like take 2 on the pitching for Como. Not going as he'd hoped right now. He's getting a little bit of work in.
Delivers a first pitch strike to the hitter in Luke Roscom, who's moved over to first base with John Martellini behind the plate. But no action in the Harbor Hawks bullpen, so Como's going to see this through and finish the inning. Misses downstairs for ball 1. Getting a lead at first, a fairly solid one, is the runner in Parks, as that pitch will miss away for ball 2. Infield playing back. Lindsley behind the runner at first. Swinging a high fly ball into fairly deep right field. Colin Hall giving chase into foul ground. Can't quite make the catch as it drops foul. And gaining a new life is the hitter in Roscom.
Como, another little smile right there. Thought he was going to be able to steal another out away from the Gatemen, who are, they're no slouch that he's pitching against. This is the best team in the Cape right now. Points-wise, they have a lead over the Harbor Hawks and the entire rest of the league, too. So Hall trying to do him a solid, but just couldn't catch up with the ball.
Como finds himself in a 2-2 count. The pitch misses upstairs as the count runs full. Como's seen a couple of full counts here in this 9th inning where he's coming on relief. Now the 3-2 pitch, swinging a high fly ball into deep right center field. Tommy Jew giving chase and tracks it down right at the warning track for out number 2. Relay back to first to Brady Lindsley, and that's in time for a double play. Tommy Jew flashing the leather here in the 9th inning. I'd like to see the stat cast on that one. He just covered a whole acre of ground out there, tracks down a fly ball on the warning track, and then with a strong throw back to Brady Lindsley at first to double off the runner in Roscom, and that'll do it here for the Gatemen in the top of the 9th inning. They played an additional 2 runs on a 2-run shot from Paven Parks, and lead by a score of 17-4. We'll be back in the bottom of the 9th for this when we get back on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Digital Network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
Six, seven, 8 hitters due up for the Harbor Hawks in the bottom half of the 9th inning. They trail by 13 runs, 17-4 the score here at McKeon Park, as UCLA right-hander Jack Ralston back on the mound for inning number 2 of his work. His first pitch to Lindsley is a breaking ball down in the dirt for ball 1. Jack Ralston, I mentioned this the last time he pitched, as he's faced the Harbor Hawks once this season. Really over the top. He'll come about as over the top as you'll see from anybody. Doesn't have much sidearm in that delivery by any means, as Brady Lindsley swings at the first pitch and sends a line drive out to center field. Moving off to his right is Skylar Hunter and makes the catch easily for out number 1. The one man retired here in the bottom of the 9th. Todd Lott coming to the plate for his 5th plate appearance. He's 3 for 4. 3 RBIs on the day, 2 runs scored, highlighted by a home run in the bottom of the 2nd and 2 RBI singles. It'll be his first time seeing Ralston, who works from the set despite nobody on base. First pitch to Lott is a breaking ball, misses inside. And now the 1-0 to Lott, misses down for ball 2. Well, if I remember right, I think we saw Ralston work out of the set in his last outing, too, when he came on against the Harbor Hawks. But that's just more comfortable for some of these relief pitchers. They like the short and easy motion as opposed to going into the windup, having all these types of high leg kicks and wheels and bells and all that sort. Lott checks his swing, appeal down to first, and he does go around, and that'll be strike 1, 2-1 the count. Todd Lott sitting with an average of .333 on the summer. Came into the day hitting .289, so he has jumped that up and skyrocketed it here tonight as he swings through the next pitch from Ralston, as that'll even the count 2-2. He came up empty on that one. Infield back, the outfield playing fairly deep on the power hitter in Lott. The 2-2 from Ralston. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Todd Lott punches out for the first time tonight. Retired for the 2nd time in as many tries. And there's 2 away for the Harbor Hawks in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Todd Lott, the only outfielder for the Harbor Hawks who has yet to be replaced in this game, trying to just keep the bat in there and keep the good times rolling for today's left fielder.
Alec Trella, the last hope for the Hawks here in the bottom of the 9th. Roscom comes to the set. The first pitch, breaking ball, misses low. 1-0 to the Memphis infielder. Started his day at shortstop, shifted over to second once Braden Como came in to pitch. And has 2 hits to his name today. 2 for 4 so far. Next pitch from Ralston, right at the knees for strike 1. Harbor Hawks have 13 hits. Gatemen have 14. 17-4 your score. Trella's wiggling that bat above his right shoulder, swings at that pitch and drives it into left field for a base hit. Fielded cleanly by Packard, throws it back in as Alec Trella picks up his third hit of the night and his best game so far this summer in a Harbor Hawks uniform. Alec Trella came into the day with just 3 hits and has doubled that total here tonight with 3 base knocks. Of course, it hasn't been the ideal day for Alec defensively. Made 2 errors in that top of the 3rd inning where the Gatemen put up 9 runs. But he's got a trio of hits so far tonight on offense. As Ralston goes from the set, the first pitch to Tommy Jew, swinging a ground ball through the left side for a base hit. 2 pitches, 2 singles for the Harbor Hawks as Tommy Jew's on at first. Trella moves down to second, and it'll bring up Davis Wenzel, the leadoff hitter for the Hawks.
Well, the Harbor Hawks have more than a hole to dig themselves out of if they're going to start rallying now, but still 2 very nice pieces from both Trella and Jew. Jew just trying to maintain a 250 batting clip on the season. He advances to 5 for 16 on the campaign now, so his summer's off to a pretty solid start, considering it was a bit later than others. And then Alec Trella with a much-needed hit. 2 big moral victories for the Harbor Hawks late here at McKeon Park.
It'll be Ralston's first time seeing the Baylor infielder in Davis Wenzel as Davis takes a first pitch breaking ball inside. Now, Tommy Jew came in as a defensive replacement for Eric Rivera earlier in the ballgame after Rivera recorded 3 plate appearances. But Tommy Jew wasting no time to make his presence felt, tracking down that long fly ball and then doubling off Kreidler at first for a double play last inning, then comes through with a single here on offense in the bottom of the 9th as Wenzel takes a breaking ball down for ball 2.
That play was something. You might hear that play on our SoundCloud page later tonight, so be sure to go and check that out. And after this game, there's 2 outs now. Robert Marcello is going to be anchoring the post-game coverage right here on this very broadcast.
This is Wenzel's 6th plate appearance tonight. Currently sports a .231 average as he takes a fastball right on the outside corner for a strike. Davis has 1 hit tonight. That came back in the 6th inning, but was stranded at second base as a strikeout from Kyle Wilkie ended things in the 6th. Trella on at second, Tommy Jew at first. 2-1 pitch from Ralston. Down low, ball 3, chested up by the catcher and Martellini. Runners won't advance.
Wenzel putting together a nice at bat here, Lyle, but the Harbor Hawks really just have to look towards tomorrow against the Mariners at this point because this game is well out of reach.
17-4 in favor of the Gatemen, a 13-run lead highlighted by a 9-run 3rd inning. Wenzel swings at that pitch and sends a ground ball on 2 hops to the third baseman in Parks, fields it cleanly and throws across to first for out number 3, and that'll do it here for this ball game at McKeon Park as the Wareham Gatemen win this one by a final score of 17-4. They're now 3-1 against the Harbor Hawks this season and will stay atop the West Division in the Cape Cod Baseball League. 24 points to their name now. The Harbor Hawks, they drop now to a record sitting at 10-6-1 on the summer. After winning 6 in a row, they've lost their last 2 contests to these very Wareham Gatemen, 1 on the road and now 1 here at home, as they'll come back tomorrow and travel on the road to Harwich to take on the first place Mariners out at White House Field. But Chris, the Harbor Hawks, really just not their night tonight, to put it plain and simple. A tough night on the mound, defensively a handful of errors, and the Gatemen just took advantage.
And it's like deja vu all over again, Lyle. The big inning was what was hurting Hyannis early this season, and man, did it come back with a vengeance in that top of the 3rd inning. 9 runs, and then you get a 3 spot going in the 6th inning, another 2 in the 7th, and the floodgates just really opened here at McKeon Park. And the Wareham Gatemen, on the other hand, really flexing their muscles and asserting their dominance as the top team in the Cape right now, despite losing Andrew Vaughn, Mason Fioli, and Bryson Stott, despite not having their big home run hitter tonight in Phillips because he's out hitting home runs in Omaha as a part of the home run derby. Wareham really just staking their flag in the Cape right now and just showing that they were the best team tonight and trying to tell the rest of the league that they better watch out.
Gatemen take this one more time by a final score of 17-4. The final line for each respective team: Wareham scores 17 runs on 14 hits, 1 error, and the team leaves 9 on base. For the Harbor Hawks, 4 runs on 15 hits, 3 errors, leaving 15 on base. The winning pitcher for tonight, Jared Horn, the Cal right-hander, picks up a win after going 3 innings. Jordan Fowler suffers a loss. The starting pitcher for Hyannis tonight lasted 2 1/3, giving up 3 earned runs. First pitch start time tonight was 5:59 p.m. This game lasted a duration of 3 hours and 38 minutes as the Gatemen take this one and move to 12-6 on the summer. For one last time, I'm Lyle Goldstein alongside Chris Lucy, but be sure to catch Robert Marcello on the postgame show in just a couple of minutes when we return on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks digital network.
Magic Works Media copyright. Magic Works Media copyright.
Welcome back here at McKeon Park. I'm Robert Marcello, anchoring post-game show today. Just going to quickly go around the league as Lyle and Chris pretty summed it up during their broadcast, so I'll just sum it up with some around the league scores. The final in YD was 4-1. A tie between the Brewster Whitecaps and the Orleans Firebirds at 3-3. Hyannis does drop their game at home, as if you were listening here on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks Network. Lost 17-4. The final in Bourne was 7-5 as they beat the Falmouth Commodores. And the final in Chatham is 5-1. That will do it all here on the post-game show. I'm Robert Marcello. Everyone have a good rest of the night, and see you tomorrow.